Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 436th episode of the GeekVerse podcast. I am the Marshawn Rowe #1 fanboy, and I'm joined by,
Number 1 Keeley fan, Kirklin Patzer.
and finally,
And I'm the Animar caster, Dylan Musk. What is that intro? Is that new? That is amazing. I've never seen
yeah,
that.
I think we made it last year for the extra live stream because it was the first time we were back in person, so we made it, and then we used it for a few times and completely forgot. So now we try to use it at the beginning of each cast because it's good. It's a nice little wrap up of stuff we've done. You know, it shows how
love that.
young we used to be.
Yeah.
So. Yeah,
All
ladies
my
and gentlemen,
previous houses.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's what the first 4 years.
Different
is just basement
haircuts
house.
and everything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't guessed by the title or the nicknames, whatever it may be, we are here to break down the Game Awards 2021. Yes, they are the Game Awards. As many as I saw people keep using the hashtag Video Game Awards. No, that is the Game Awards. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, go and to the description down below. We got bunch of stuff popping off. That's where you can find our video and audio feeds. We got Hawkeye reviews weekly, Dexter reviews weekly, 2 newscasts a week. The Matrix retrospective just started. Dropped the first episode today. We'll talk about Matrix later, but yeah, lots of good stuff popping off. 2 weeks, and actually no, not even 2 weeks. A week from now will be the Spider-Man No Way Home review, which is going to be myself, Kirkland Patzer, and Dilmus. You're going to be joining us for that one.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
The Return of the King.
Back
Oh,
in
yeah.
Kelowna too for the
Yeah.
well, even though we're not recording in person, but still.
Me and
It's
Travis are actually in the same house right now. We're just in different rooms.
Yeah, Kirkland broke it with Shay and he moved in. It's a whole thing, but
Whoa. Lot of
yeah,
news.
no. Jessica has a sitter, so she's gonna be joining us. Kyle from Down Under might, so it's gonna be like a really good classic GeekVerse episode. But yeah, it's lots of stuff to talk about tonight. So as always, just go ahead down in the description below. And what I would recommend is definitely joining our Discord group because tonight was popping off. It's always going at these big events. It was fun. So everyone in there, thank you very much. It's listeners, GA hosts, fans, us, and we just talk and have a good time. So if you want to interact with us, do that. Head over to Patreon for the best way to listen, ad-free, exclusive early episodes. And down below, if you want to do some Christmas shopping, if you want to save those glorious man particles, that's what you want to be doing right now. Manscaped GV Pod, 20% off, free shipping. Think I hit everything. You find us on the social media, Twitter, Facebook, all that good jazz. But I want to jump in because I think we got lots to talk about. So Dylan, we got lots to talk about. We're going to go in order, but I just want to ask you kind of do this. How do you think the show was overall? He said it's been going since 2014, which is kind of crazy because I think those first 3 years was like an hour presentation. It was like
Never
really
heard of
quick
it.
and stuff. Yeah, exactly. I feel like legitimately it did start to get to this form when our podcast started because I remember whether like we started in 2016, I think it was either like 2016 or 2017 where we did like a watch along. So I feel like the past 4 or 5 years is when it's really been popping off. But what do you think about this show this year?
Yeah, I feel like he's really found his formula now because this one seemed like structurally to me like the exact same as the one last year.
Yes.
And I don't know, I feel like it just keeps getting longer and longer, but I feel like it might be capped out. Like last year was like around 3 hours. This one was around 3 hours as well. So yeah, I feel like it was pretty much the same kind of structure as last year. I think it was a decent show. I guess there wasn't like any announcement in here that like just blew me away or knocked me out of my chair or anything like that on a personal level. I feel like, and I think the main thing for me was that a ton of the announcements here were, I feel like things we've seen a lot now, things we've seen like 3 or 4 other shows, and there was some new stuff in there, but most of the new stuff, if not all of it, was just like CG trailers, which are always hard to, gauge interest on. But yeah, I think in terms of the show itself, like it's pretty solid. Yes, there's a lot of filler in there. I don't need a 5-minute Fortnite trailer every time these come around, but I at this point now expect that that's going to happen. So yeah, I guess it was pretty much as my expectations were. Maybe I was hoping for a couple more announcements that like really hit home for me personally, but I think I don't know. I can't really complain too much with a bunch of the new stuff they showed off here. And then yeah, the awards itself, it seemed like there was there was so many categories that had kind of the same names over and over again, and it seems like at least all of them kind of got one award at least. So that was cool. I mean, there's some I was hoping for different results, but yeah, overall, I thought it was a decent show. Maybe not my favorite Game Awards that we've seen so far.
Kirkland Patzer, I know you were for the first little bit of it, but then you kind of caught up.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm not sure what I missed in the first half an hour. I think I jumped on at like 5:35. The big ones was Wonder Woman I missed, and then Star Wars.
Right.
If there's anything in there, I figured usually they have like an intro thing. I don't know. Did they get right into it this year? Did they have something like that,
Well, they
like
had the
breaking down like
pre-show.
what's to come? Yeah.
They
Okay.
had pre-show and they had Sting sing a song.
Okay. I'm not too worried. I missed that.
So
but
everyone
yeah.
remember Sting opened up for Imagine Dragons. Don't you forget that.
But yeah, from when I jumped in, I quite enjoyed the show. I've seen, we've all seen our fair share of terrible shows in the past, whether it's E3, some super cringe moments. I thought it was good, and there was almost like natural commercials like in this. They must do that intentionally, where they just like showcase, I don't know, whether it's a phone game or they'll go off of just some content creator talking about something. And I feel like if you're just watching this, like I'm gonna sit down and watch the Game Awards, that stuff could be, or it could take you out a bit while you're watching those. But like honestly, for me, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm doing dishes. Like I got home like middle of the Video Game Awards, so I just like put it on, did my regular thing, made dinner, like did dishes and everything. And I thought it was a good balance of me being able to, okay, what's showing, and then I could go sit and watch it, and then it's like, okay, what's next, and then just go back to what I was doing, take Marco out. Like it was just it worked very well for me personally, other than the start time. So yeah, I quite enjoyed it. I thought the stage looked beautiful. I can't quite remember what the previous years were, but it's just such
shit. Just the worst looking stages. You like all the hanging balls?
They're like at Keely's house, yeah.
I was always worried that people are gonna walk in those balls. Like I'm not even making a joke. Like they look so low. I was worried like one tall NBA player was gonna take out the whole stage.
I kind of thought that was the backdrop. Maybe I just wasn't looking intently enough, but I thought it was just good visually. And it's just on such a scale now where it's like, man, this is a show, like Travis was saying, it's been on since 2014 and probably didn't get the biggest traction till a couple years in. And I think, I can't remember the first year that we covered it, but even then I thought it was just like, what is this? Okay, is this just like a lesser E3? And now personally, I think it's just like so stands on its own. Like, if you followed us, I feel like I've voiced my opinion that I feel like E3's kind of been going down these last few years, and I think the video games were just getting better. And I think Jeff Keighley's such a phenomenal host for those things. He looks just really passionate about everything that he's doing, and I just want him to succeed. So it's awesome that he's getting success with this as well as Summer Games Fest. And yeah, go Canadian journalists, man. Jeff Keighley, there you go, represent the Great White North.
I didn't even know he's Canadian. That's a fun fact. I learned that just now. So there you go.
I feel like we've talked about that like several times.
Yeah.
In GP
I guess I just forget about Keely until Summer Games Fest and Game Awards, and then he's just that guy that tweets out stuff, But
I mean, he probably lives in LA at this point. Like he's abandoned us up here.
No,
he's
actually in my
Toronto,
other
which is
room as well.
basically
yeah. Toronto is America. Yeah, I'm
That's
sorry,
what I
all
was
you
gonna say.
Canadians from Toronto, you're not Canadian. Get out of here. We,
Whoa,
come on now.
gatekeeper.
Yeah, 100%.
anything on the east isn't even Canada. It's just
No,
the Wexit, right? People are pushing that for a while.
Yeah, I like the show overall. I think Dylan nailed it where he has his formula, and I think this is, barring a few little differences here and there for the next few years, I think this is going to be it, and I'm fine with that. Here's the thing. I do understand people are like, oh, it's not about the awards. There's fluff. That's all about the game reels. I just think, unfortunately, I don't know if many people would tune in if it was just strictly awards. It was every single category, not a reveal, not a show. Because even then, yeah, there's sometimes like, do I need to be watching Imagine Dragons right now? No, but it gives that appeal of like it being cool or current and stuff like that. So somebody like, oh, Sting sang and Imagine Dragons sang and stuff like that. So I think, I guess I'm just kind of tired of the tweets every year. Like, oh, it's not about the awards. It's just like, it's not like, it is it is to an extent, because I think that you get to showcase in the middle of all these trailers and reveals, you get to showcase these games. Some of them you've probably heard of, but some you haven't, and the creators. So I think the thing is, most people would not be watching, and probably they couldn't sustain themselves like financially if they didn't do this stuff, because Jeff gets to like do best of both worlds, and maybe there will be a point where it's less than that. But I think now it's kind of what Kirklin said, where it's a good thing and a bad thing. Bad thing for those people, but a good thing that I feel like Summer Games Fest slowly, but Game Awards is definitely replacing E3 as almost like the big show of the year now. Summer Games Fest, I feel, could be that in a few years, just because the first year was messy. This year was better, so let's see what he keeps doing with it. I think he'll follow this formula, but I think this is becoming that like end of the year. It's a celebration of games, but it's also just what's going to get revealed. And yeah, that is the big topic, but I like the way it was paced. It was 3 hours, but did not feel like that, to be honest. I feel like there was a couple Game Awards that we did watch that did feel like that, where it was a drag, and we had to just, not even was there no big reveals, it was just in general, whether it was awkward speeches or pacing. I think they've narrowed that down. The commercials aren't even that long, and most of them are for other video games too, so it's not even like a bad thing. It's just like, so I thought the show was really, really good. I have really no complaints. I got to see games I didn't see before. Also, I've not got to play too many games, so I was learning about a lot. Like It Takes Two, I was like, that was a big shock for me, because like I just heard this game for the first time a couple weeks ago. But there were some big games there. I think they did a good thing that Keeley is very smart at, or just Keeley and his team. They hit genres for almost everybody. They hit your big mainstream titles, they hit your sports titles, your racing titles, your shooters, your this, your indies. They try to spread out. I think that's really good. I think my only complaint, and where I go from some people with the tweets, I agree that I applaud him, and I understand it's a very awkward thing to talk about when he's talking about like harassment in the gaming industry. But the transition was just really bad when he's like, we gotta look out for the future, and man, the future's looking good. And it was like, oh, like I just wish he like found a way to transition that a bit better at the beginning, because it didn't feel insincere. I understand what he's going for, but that was my only slight, like, you should have just went to commercial right there or through to something else. Not like we got lots of excitement to go. But other than that, I think it was a really good show. It gets me excited for every year this comes down. I'm excited to talk about some of the winners and whatnot. Anything overall we want to get into?
Not really.
Shout out some stuff from the pre-show then. Tunic, that game's been premium for a while. It's coming out March 16th. Still looks cool. Fox with a sword, stuff like that. Games for Impact goes to Life is Strange True Colors. I feel like anytime there's games for Impact and Life is Strange is in the category, it wins that category. I just feel like every time we've seen, I think there's been 3 games, so there's that one. Let's see, what was the other? There's I don't know even what this is, the KOF 15 open beta. It's like a fighting game, very anime looking ish and stuff like that. What I wanted to shout, though, what I am excited for is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game. So this is something that it was rumored a few, I think, months ago. Maybe it did come up, but I think it was rumored. And this is the team Gun. This is the team that did Friday the 13th. And obviously that game had a sad ending because of like lawsuits. If you don't know, one camp owns the term Friday the 13th and one camp owns the term Jason, and this game got stuck in the middle of it. So they had a bunch of DLC and content that was going to release for the game, and it just never came out because they couldn't legally put it out. So I do like that they're going Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It has a movie coming out on Netflix in February, so it's kind of having like a renaissance. And also it's just that this is like legally it's bound to one person, so if this game does hit and it's fun, it's not going to get its knees cut out. So that's really cool. I don't know what it's going to be like price wise and things like that, but because I like Friday the 13th, I'm always going to check out those guys games. I don't know if you guys have anything to add on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game. Nope, there you go. Homeworld, anyone know about Homeworld 3 Q4? Anything to say on that?
No, I was not really paying too much attention to the pre-show, so I might have missed a couple of these.
Okay, and this is my one question that I have, because we were talking about this because you corrected me. But so The Expanse, it's a show on Amazon. They're getting a game. It's made by Telltale. Can you tell me, Dylan, what happened with Telltale? Because I remember they're riding high, but now Batman, Guardians, all this stuff, and then it's like they're closed, they're done, and then all of a sudden tonight it was just like The Expanse Telltale. I'm like, I missed the like little comeback or whatever happened.
So here's my recollection of all of it from someone who's not a Telltale fan, so I was not paying too close attention. But Telltale essentially went bankrupt, so they fired everyone, like pretty much everyone, the entire team. And then I think there was even some like controversy too with like, I don't know, some harassment stuff or something like that. And so a lot of the devs that worked on the Telltale stuff, they kind of teamed up and are kind of working together now, and I think we'll talk about the game they are working on later, that kind of team that's made from the fallout of it. But then I guess at some point Telltale got some funding of some sort, and they like rebuilt the studio from the ground up essentially. So I don't know where they got that money from, probably because they fired everyone and then did some really sus stuff. So it's kind of a sketchy situation. But anyway, so now there's kind of like two I guess groups of devs making games like that, and this is one of them. And it seems like the Expanse is I don't know. I've heard some buzz for it. People seem to like that
Yeah,
show,
it's a
right?
popular show. Yeah, I've never seen it, but if you like sci-fi and whatnot, plus I don't know if they partner with Amazon, like would they be fronting the bill on anything? If you're gonna do that, Amazon's a place to go to because I'm sure they don't
Yeah,
have a lack
true.
of money, right? So, obviously we talk about okay, they opened the show, they had Sting there, and then the first award. Actually, I don't want to get the tally there. So you guys did your predictions episode a few weeks ago.
Mhm.
Dylan, what was the final tally of the night?
Yeah. So we skipped the like esports categories and the content creator one.
Yeah.
So I think out of like 24, 25 categories, I ended up getting 11 of them right, and Kirkland got 5. So I
Oh,
kind of crushed Kirkland a little bit here. I might be a
I've
little
heard.
bit off on those numbers, but either way, I think I took the W this year, Kirkland.
I think it's right in the numbers that you did. Yeah. I think maybe I agree with your comment that you had last year. Maybe I was going with my heart a little bit too much than following my brain because there's just games I wanted to win. But yeah, no, it's I'll take the L on that one. You're more in on the now with the video games. So right. I mean,
Yeah. Well, I
well
will say,
played, sir.
best indie, you went with Kenna, which was like a heart pick for you, and
That was a
won.
hard pick, and
And they
yeah,
got
that one
debut
won.
as well.
I felt
so
good.
That was a good clutch out on that one. And then I think you also went with your heart on Age of Empires for Sim
Yeah,
Strategy,
that's
and that
right.
ended up winning too. So
Yeah,
I think you got to find that balance between your heart and the mind on that one.
exactly. But no, well fought. Well fought. That was a good one. Maybe
Mhm.
we'll get some more competitors for next year.
Well, I'll have to come back and take the crown. I hope I can play some more fucking games this year.
We'll see if you're as confident as you were on the game of the year pick. It's like, whoa, look at this. I think Deathloop's got this.
We'll
in
get
it.
Yeah.
we'll get in that.
That is mind blowing.
Yeah. So the first award of the official game show was best independent game. That goes to Kenya, Bridge of Spirits. Anything to say on that?
Just well deserving. It was a
Mhm.
phenomenal game.
Looks beautiful.
Yeah, I will say since me and Kirkland did our predictions cast, I've played a lot of Inscription, which was another one of them up there, and that would be that's like one of my maybe even top 3 games this year now. It is so good. So I was really pulling for Inscription to win that one. I also really like Loop Hero, but I didn't expect that to win. But yeah, I was really looking for Inscription. But I mean, Kenna, that's a pretty badass indie game. That does not look like an indie game. That's how
No,
polished it is.
100%.
So
Yeah.
props to the team for getting those 2 awards.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is something that you may have missed, Kirkland. So if you don't have nothing to add, that's fine. This was Senya's Saga Hellblade 2. This is obviously something that Xbox been pimping out quite a bit because they bought it, I feel like probably 2 years ago. It got to be like at least the first. I feel like they own it, right? Like I don't think
They
it's gonna
do,
be-
yeah.
Okay, like maybe the most is a timed exclusive, but I think they'd be smart. Keeley said this whole thing was gameplay. I imagine he's right per se, but I do wonder if it's like, would there be a HUD or stuff like that? But I do know, as someone that's not play Hellblade, just from what I hear, it's a very interactive or more like engrossing type of game where it just you do feel like you're in that world. And I've always been interested about it, and I imagine the first one might be on Games Pass. If it's not, this
I
is
think it
one
is,
that
yeah.
is it okay, cool. And this is one that if it's going right to Game Pass, it looked very, very cool, very, very just it's a big world, but obviously this like what they showed was very claustrophobic and just the design of this like giant and everything very cool. So I like the world they're building. I'd hope to try it, especially if it's on Game Pass easy enough. But what do you think, Dylan, about like he said, he made a big deal about being like all gameplay, and it looked very like the whole thing very much looked like just a cinematic cutscene.
Yeah, it looked unreal. I just love the visuals of like the characters stepping in the water and the waves rippling and the reflection of the light. And then I was watching that trailer with headphones on, and yeah, like the way the sound and like the characters kind of whispers and thoughts. She's kind of doubting herself, and it's like pretty scary. And yeah, the way the audio is like hitting different parts of your ears, like really cool. So yeah, I'm definitely going to play through the first one and then that game next year when it comes out. I'm pretty excited for it. I think that gameplay just looked really interesting. I liked that they kept it to just like this, confined like 3 to 5 minute segment, like this one, I guess, level, rather than showing like a bunch of clips from different areas. Because I feel like for this game, you don't want to show too much because it's so story focused and probably a lot of surprises in there. But yeah, I loved what they showed here. It looks terrifying, but it looks very unique at the same time. So yeah, I think this was a good show, and I think we've been waiting for gameplay for this one for a while because they did announce it a long time ago, and it's just been they've been talking about, I don't know, the story and stuff, but they haven't really shown too much in the gameplay department.
Well, I think you're right too. If they were to show just like a slice of a bunch of stuff that happens in the game, I actually think it would do a disservice. I think this
Hmm.
works better for
This
this
had
type
more of
of
an
game.
impact. Yeah.
Yeah, some games like we talked about later, I think Elden Ring that works when it's like we're gonna show you a bunch of stuff and a bunch of characters, a bunch of world. This I think this game's all about like the feeling of being in this world or playing these characters, and it does that. And I'm very interested in it. And I like I said, that was a sleeper game, the first one that came out. You didn't really hear much, and then once it kind of picked up, oh, you gotta play Hellblade, you gotta play Hellblade. So I'm not sure, Kirkland. I think you missed this one. If not,
Yeah, I missed everything on the second one, but this is really cool to just get video for it. I mean, I got to see it to have an opinion on it, but just like going back to like what the series is in general, I same thing. Like I remember hearing about it. It's like, okay, what is this? And then you look into it, and just like everyone is praising it that has played it. It's one of those that really hits you like in the feels because I believe it attacks like a certain mental illness that the main character faces. And Dylan, you're mentioning that you listen to it in headphones. It like highly recommends that you play the game that way because there's just so many aspects of like playing in on that, and it's really cool. Apparently the first one's actually on 75% off right now on Steam. It's only like
Nice.
$8, so if you haven't played the first one and you're inking to get into this one, might be a good time to pick it up. But yeah, it's really cool to get finally gameplay on that.
Hmm.
I got the perfect headphones, the one with the big antennas
Fuck yeah,
and
you
stuff
do.
like that. Yeah, I'll
Get
just trade
satellite
you
radio
yeah,
on that thing too.
Emily bought me these ones for Christmas, and they look a little funny. But you know, who knows? But Kirkland, like you don't know much about the game, but like, what do you feel about Hell? You know, like there's Hell and Blade. What do you feel about Hell?
I think Hell's an underrated place.
Okay, and what do you think about Blades?
Blades are sweet. If we're talking about the movie, if we're talking about the weapon, highly maybe it's a little ineffective these days, but it's still a great device.
So
Serve
how do they go
mankind
together?
hardcore.
They go together good.
There's probably some good synergy there.
Good.
Blade
So
Hell.
so then we got a big surprise for me because it's I love anytime when now that I'm older, and I guess I would have got this probably when I'm younger, but when something's starting, you're like, what is this? And you see a logo of a certain company, you're like, oh man, I know this is gonna be something good. Now this is one, like I said, I would have think I got younger, but they showed Lucasfilm, and I was very interested. Like, hey, what's gonna happen? Because we know now after the whole EA debacle, they're all the way around, right? So it's like, oh, is this gonna be more? What is it? Knights of the Republic? Is this gonna be the Ubi game? But no, this is a game that we have heard rumors about for months. It's funny. It started of just Quantum Dream or Quantic Dream is making a Star Wars game, and then it's like, oh, it might be High Republic. It might be called Eclipse. Well, this was one of those cases where like legitimately almost every leak has been true, but I couldn't be more happy. And man, this is one of these things that, of course, it's just a cinematic trailer, but this is where I counter because most of the time Dylan brings it up and he's 100% right because, like, well, let's see some gameplay, let's see how it moves. With this one being Quantic Dreams, this is what you want to see like done really well. These are the guys where it's like, okay, it's kind of very much like I feel like Naughty Dog, right? If you're into that, like the cinematics are like it's a game, it's a moving movie, it's a whatever. I can't think of the term, but cinematic gameplay. I loved everything about it. If people don't know, this is covering the High Republic. So Dylan, the High Republic era is something Lucasfilm has been dabbling in the past. I think probably 2 years now. So it is the era right before the prequels. So it's the era where the Jedi were all just running game. They're all in control and stuff like that. There was no Sith whatsoever. They were all extinct. It was just Palpatine High, but they're all completely gone. So they're very much like Guardians of Peace and stuff like that. And we were talking about a few weeks ago or a month ago when this was rumored that I think it would be a good place because there's lots of times in the books, me and Taylor have been reading all the books where they're much more almost like detectives in a way. They'll show up to a crime scene and they're kind of like the Guardians peacemakers. So they got to like talk to, let's say, you know, the one person that says you did this and one person says you didn't do this, whatever. They're almost like the lawyers and they're kind of trying to figure out, of course, there's like always, you know, some criminal or something that pops up, but they're very much more investigators in this universe because they don't really have to lead with their lightsabers. And those guys that you saw banging the drums and everything, they're these guys called the Nihil, and they're like terrorists, but they're like Viking terrorists, and they're all about like destroying ships and collecting spice and all this sort of stuff. So, and there's this main guy, which looks like he's gonna be the game name, Marshawn Rowe. He's like their main baddie and whatnot, and he's a guy that can kind of, I won't spoil anything. He has the ability to kind of see visions in a way and stuff like that. So it's a really cool lore they're setting up. But as of right now, they've only done books and comic books. They've never done anything TV show or animation. So this is the first time they're really getting into it. And like obviously you see Yoda in this trailer. Yoda's in the books. He's only been in like a few pages because he's like 1,000-year-old. He can. But so that's the era it's tackling. It's tackling right before. And yeah, for myself, it just Man, this is just shooting up or some of that. I love Detroit Human. Me and Dylan reviewed it. It has its flaws, but again, I like that type of I like story games and I love choose your own adventure. So I love that. I loved Heavy Rain. So the fact that we're getting this in Star Wars, it's confirmed. And what I see, it's just what I like, and maybe this sounds cliche, it looks a bit darker, which fits with Quantic Dream to me. It looks like okay, this feels like a game that maybe kids won't be all into, you know, like I don't know. Everything I saw, the world, I'm just happy existing. It looks great, and my timeline went crazy with this. So I'm very excited to see what Quantum Dream is going to do with a Star Wars game.
Nice. It's funny that you said the bad guys collect spice because when this trailer first popped up, I'm like, oh, this is like a Dune game. What is going on here? Totally had that vibe, which of course comes up later. But yeah, I think I'm kind of iffy on Quantic Dream, but I didn't love Detroit Human, but there's parts of that game that I loved and some storylines and some characters. So there's definitely potential there. I was gonna ask like, okay, well, what is the like the force of who are the antagonists of this era then if the Sith aren't around? And you explained it in an interesting way that kind of has me intrigued to just see a different side of Star Wars, like this kind of whole new side, this opposition that is kind of different and fresh and new, and that's kind of intriguing to me. And I liked all the different locales here. Obviously, it was CG, but still like very beautiful. Just the different areas they chose to highlight here. So I think this one's on my radar. I don't know if it's a day one purchase for me. We'll see. But yeah, it's cool to see and know what the studio is working on next. And yeah, just like that new crop of Star Wars games now that that IP is not being locked down by EA is cool to see the kind of the different styles, because this is going to be much different than like Jedi Fallen Order or the KOTOR remake. And that's good. It's good to have variety, especially with time period, but also like gameplay. So
now I got to shout out because the Star Wars Alliance host in the chat. He said Nihil is a group, not a species. I never said a species. You can go back, play the tape. I didn't say a single thing, but he said the people hitting the drums are the same species as Marshawn Rowe. That makes sense. I just thought because like I'm not sure, Clay, if you did the audiobooks or whatnot, but lots of times in their like little war meetings, there's always like drums and music. So that's what I thought, but that makes sense. But yeah, there's one guy that has a lightsaber, but it's just because he stole it off a dead Jedi's body. He's not like force sensitive. Like I'm the one Sith that remains and stuff. And Jedi and Dylan, there's like Wookiee Jedis in this universe. So you could play as, that's what I was going to ask. I wonder, because you played Detroit Human, do you think like they've done both where Heavy Rain was you play as one character trying to find out who this killer was, right? But then you have Detroit Human that had 3 leads. What do you think you would do in this situation? Do you think it's multiple? Do you think it is maybe you choose? Because like I said, in this era, they have lots of people that are Jedi and lots of different races or alien species that are Jedi. Like I said, there's a Wookiee right now that's a Jedi.
Yeah, I'm wondering what they did in their game. What was it called? Between Two Souls. Was that the game that was kind of their second game in between Heavy Rain and
that was with Ellen Page, right?
Yeah, I'm wondering what that game was.
Elliot Page. Yeah, I think it was just you played as that character, and Defoe was fucking Defoe was in that game. I gotta try it. But
Defoe was in that game.
Yeah, he's like the therapist that's like maybe not cool. Like,
that's right. Yeah. That's right.
But yeah, I think you just played as Elliot Page the whole time, I think, barring maybe a scene.
It was actually 2 player, so there's like a ghost that's like with Elliot Page, and then if you're playing 2 player, the other person plays as that person. But if you're playing alone, like one joystick is the character, and the other one's like the ghost. It was actually really cool. Me and Shay were playing it. We didn't play through the whole thing, but I really liked what I was playing. And sorry, that was Quantic Dream.
It is.
Yeah, that was
that's cool.
In between game. Yeah, Detroit was their big comeback because they took a big break. I think I'll have to look, but I think between
that game came out in 2018, so this will have been 4 years ish. So that seems like a pretty long development time for their style of game, I would say. So hopefully that's a good sign. Maybe it was also a rights thing, as they couldn't really like go full in on it until the EA. I don't even remember when the EA thing finished, but I guess that's your question. I would be down to see multiple characters. I think that would be, just different aliens, or maybe like control like a droid of some sort, like the C-3PO looking guy that you were talking about.
I was wrong.
Travis was getting flack. Yeah, he was getting flack for that in the chat.
He looks like C-3PO.
He does. He's got the same eyes and everything. And I thought the same thing.
I swear, if the game opens up with like someone telling little Annie a story about the High Republic and C-3PO, all you people owe me a fucking apology. He looks, and I feel like they did that on purpose, though, to try and get people that don't know this world be like, oh, it's C-3PO, oh, it's Yoda, because they show Yoda in it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, Beyond Two Souls was 2013. So there's obviously 5-year gap between that. So what this is.
So I guess it's pretty on par with their development cycle. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't give a day, but even if it were to come out next year, that's 4 years. But when he said it's early development, I know it's a different type of game, but it did not look like to me completely early development. I think he was just trying to say that not to like,
Yeah.
oh, when's it coming out? But not
And
that I look far along, but most of their games are like very cinematic. So
Might a lot. Oh, there we go. He's
you're
back.
back. Well,
I just thought they had a lot going for them for
Yeah.
something so early, you know?
well, Quantic Dream. I'm just looking this up, but they're not owned by Sony, right? But they obviously did Heavy Rain, and then I don't know about Beyond Two Souls, but I think that was a PlayStation exclusive.
I think
but
they were
Detroit
all
was as
PlayStation
well.
exclusives, yeah.
So are
Would
they
you imagine
owned by
that?
Sony? I'm not seeing that on their
another Sony.
Wikipedia.
I think it's one of those like Hideo where they've just always like worked with him. Or like right now, Hideo, he's not exclusive to Sony, but like,
Yeah, they just
obviously,
published it. So I don't.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that'll be an exclusive as well?
it's tough because like obviously we heard that about Knights of the Old Republic that it is a like sounds like a first year exclusive for Sony, but then it's going out. I just feel like they wouldn't want to do that too much where Marvel is like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't care, we're gonna give them Wolverine, we're gonna give them Spider-Man. I feel like they wouldn't want to make all the monies, so my prediction will be no, but the track record would show, even if it's like a year timed exclusive, could be something like
Yeah,
that.
if you're a Star Wars fan, leave the Xbox on the shelf. You got to buy a PS5. It seems like the place to be. for you.
Directly commenting to Taylor.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that I guess my turn to talk about it. I
No, we're
really
moving on.
liked what I
So-
saw. I really liked what I saw. Come on, Travis. I was defending you with C3PO. At least.
Yeah,
give
I
me some
know.
time to talk
Yeah,
about this.
yeah, you're right.
I really liked what I saw from it. I was really confused because I have no like idea what the High Republic is. I haven't read any of the books or anything like this, other than what you guys have told me. That's like that's all my knowledge on High Republic. So I just wasn't really sure what was going on. I'm like, are these guys supposed to be Sith or something? Glad you went first and you were able to explain it. I'm excited to just see story wise what this is like. I think I'm with Dylan. It wouldn't be a day one purchase for me. But I definitely would be following it, just for the aspect that it's Star Wars, you know, decisions matter. Yeah, like I've played a little bit of the Quantum Dream games, but I think the Star Wars appeal is really high up there. Just the fact that it's Star Wars, you'll be able to see different type of characters. Maybe some will be Jedi. Well, I guarantee some will be Jedi, but just seeing, I don't know, different sides of what's going on in this galaxy at this point in time, and yeah, it's just really cool news. I think we need more Star Wars games. It was under it was in like the dark times with EA, so it's nice that it's free for different developers to come out with more Star Wars games. Because like, man, way back in the day, like 2002, 2004, like I feel like that was like the golden era of like Star Wars games. We had like the original Battlefronts, like Battlefront 2. There's the RTS game. Boba Fett game. There was like a lot of Star Wars games coming out at that time. I think Force Unleashed was actually not too far off from that point. So it's nice that it's just open for more developers to try out, because there's just so much great content with Star Wars, and to just limit it to one developer, I think that's just hurting like the franchise, at least game wise. So it's awesome. It's awesome we're getting stuff like this.
I'll make a prediction. I bet you're gonna buy it day one, Kirkland, because it's just the first preview. It's the first preview, but when you get that E3 or like longer gameplay demo, when you get to see the world, I think because Clay said this, and I said this too when we did that cast, is a perfect setting for heavy decision making and multiple endings. It is just because it is. There's of course always action in there, but it feels like it's a lot more like character driven than what you would in Jedi Fallen Order, where it's like you just gotta escape from these Jedi. Like there's one right now in the book, one popular character is like he's really struggling with classic like Anakin, but he's struggling with not to like let his feelings be known to someone and like have sexual relations with that person. I think that is something you can play with in the Star Wars one, where it's just like that's something you could do, but there might be some punishment. So it's like, do you follow the Jedi way or do you follow your emotions? I think they can, because that's the best thing, that it's not always just going to be like light side, dark side. I think there's other routes to explain. And like I said, it doesn't even have to be the Jedi, but I feel like they showed enough Jedi action, you'll at least be around them. There's one really cool shot of like a yellow and blue lightsaber like side by side and stuff. So the personality choices, I think that's fun. Like I said, I'm just interested to see who you play as. Like I said, like who's the main protagonists or is.
If it comes down to a decision of like have sex with this person or stick to the Jedi code, I'm going away from the Jedi Code. You know me.
Oh, yeah.
I'm already a Sith. Like
Jedi Code's stupid.
so-
I want to see when that game's out for a year, then put out the stats of, like, who chose the Jedi way, and it'll be like Taylor, and then the rest of the world will
Field,
be the
yeah.
other side. Yeah, but no, I think there's lots of fun stuff like that, and there's lots of like what people love, like Star Wars politics, but there is in like kind of a good way there. So yeah, I'm looking very forward to, and it's good because for us Star Wars fans, we've been talking about the High Republic. There's a show that happens close to it, and now there's a game. So if you like that era, it seems like Star Wars is maybe actually kind of like, yeah, we're looking into it. So yeah, that's cool. It's officially Eclipse, no date or even like a window or anything like that, but still it's cool that it's just like confirmed it's happening, you know? So
yeah, absolutely.
let's take our first ad break because then we got another big head honcho to talk about. So we will be right back. And we're back. So let's talk about this was one when, and I'll tip my hat to Keeley because he was 100% right. He's like, I didn't see this on anyone's bingo's card and yada yada yada. And it's true because I've not seen this rumored. I've not seen anyone even propose this idea. We get this. We get like we see Monolith. I'm like, okay, that's cool. And then we see DC, and I'm like, okay, this is interesting because we're gonna squad later. And then I'm pretty sure someone could tell me wrong. I'm probably wrong. It sounded like Salma Hayek to me narrating this trailer. I don't know if it is her, but either way, we just see armor. And the second she said Diana, it's like, oh my goodness, like you saw the armor and you had an idea, but once that worked, you're like, oh my goodness. And then armor, lasso of truth, all this stuff. So not like a big trailer, but just a cinematic teaser of a Wonder Woman game made by Monolith. Now, I think that's cool. Like, obviously, I would have been hyped, but the second I knew it was Monolith, I'm like, man, as someone that loved those Lord of the Rings game, like Shadow for War and Shadow for Middle Earth or whatever the hell their terrible titles were, like just generic stuff. I like just the way that game plays, like, oh, that'd be perfect. Ever since God of War, people have been asking for two things: like a Thor or a Wonder Woman game in that type of style. Now, the Lord of the Rings games aren't exactly like that God of War style, but I feel like it's almost like an adjacent to, like it's in that family of types. God of War is definitely above it, but so they said it's gonna be open world, it's gonna be an original story. I have some other notes I'll find while you guys are talking, but the biggest thing, because I was talking about this, I'm like, oh, and this is where I think this has such an impact. I was telling her about the game, like, oh, it's the one where you kill a guy and it's like, you remember me? I'm the guy you got it. I'm here to get you. And the second I told her, she's like, oh, right, I remember that game. And I think even people that play a little bit remember that system, and then the system they confirmed will be in this game. And I think that's really cool because I thought it was just going to be the gameplay, and I thought, oh, that's good enough for me. I like their gameplay, like their world. I'm in. But the fact that Nemesis is going to be in there with like gods and like, you know, creature, whatever it may be, like DC stuff, just sign me up. And I hope, like, so far it sounds like it's going to be very like Themyscira sort of set. So it's not going to be like, oh, Wonder Woman in today's age fighting a bank robber. No, it's going to be very, you know, God of War, medieval, like fantasy type, like, and I think that's perfect. It fits what they did. So this is just one of these games where it's just like similar to Spider-Man when that was announced, when you just take Wonder Woman and Monolith and you put them together. It's like, this sounds perfect. And people, again, were very excited about that. Kirklin Patz, you're a big Wonder Woman guy. What do you think about this?
Yeah, this was definitely my show stealer of the entire show. Spoiler
of the
alert.
year, you were gonna say.
This is my golden. This is my favorite game of the year, 2021. No, I just think it's like it's just got all the ingredients for something so amazing. Wonder Woman's just super super popular. Her last film didn't really help that, but I think everyone's just still so hyped on like her in the DC, Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, and that first movie just carries so much weight still, and just such a really popular character DC wise. And the fact that you couple that with Monolith, you know, like I'm like Travis, I absolutely love those Shadow of War, Shadow of Mordor. Those are the two titles. I love them. They're not for everyone. Dylan might speak to that, but just the fact there's like waves of enemies coming, and all I really have to do is like hit a parry button at the right time. Sometimes there's some like factors that make it a little bit more challenging, but it's just cinematically beautiful. And I
whip
think
now
with the whip is going to be
lasso?
amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I hope it's glowing like what we saw in like the DC run of her like right now in the movies. I think that's a really bright part with the character, no pun intended, but it's really visually pleasing. The character that they kind of showed in like the teaser, like that's Diana. I'm just so excited to see her like with her armor and everything. I'm curious if there's going to be different outfits and like costumes and stuff like that. They probably would have some sort of customizing thing. It'll probably just be aesthetic wise, but I know they had that for Shadow of Mordor. I think it was mostly just like a skin like replacement, and I would be totally fine with that. Like if we get the gold armor, the classic, maybe like the one from like the 80s, like just to switch it up a little bit, just some variety in skins. I think that's a really good idea.
Are you fine if they don't do like movie versions, but they do like different in-game costumes where like, oh, here's a stealth one, here's like
Oh, absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
I would be so.
it depends how like realistic the story is because it's funny like Batman Arkham Asylum did that, but it was very just like in-game skins. But then Batman Arkham Knight was like, you can play as Adam West, you can play so
Yeah.
like we've seen it done both ways. I feel like this game like could be serious, so they might be just those type of costumes, but then they know people love costumes, so they might just throw in the one over 1984 and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. But I think even if it didn't have that, just like gameplay wise, it would sell me on it. I love Wonder Woman, such a great character, and the Nemesis system, that's like the cherry on top. That was such a special thing from those Shadow of War games for me personally. Like that was one of my favorite things is like it didn't even bother me if I got absolutely bopped by an orc, because I know if I'm just like if I'm out in the world and like sometimes they'll just randomly like see you and then it just goes to them
later.
and it's like it's like you and I'm like, oh fuck, not you, and I just like run away.
And
like it literally grows fear.
Yeah, it makes sense because it feels like a movie when you get humbled and then you're fighting that guy again. And it's good. It's so funny because you can have two things where it's like you meet him 2 days later and it's like an epic rematch, or you meet him like 3 weeks later and you have so much shit and you just destroy him and it's nothing. And it was so fun. It added such like a realism to the world. So the
It
fact
was
that
so
they're bringing
special.
that back.
Yeah, and it was interesting too because I thought like sometimes if you like decapitated an Orakai or something like that, it's like, hey, I'm not seeing this guy again. And then you see him and he's got like stitches on his neck and he's like, I'm back. It's like, oh,
You thought you got rid of me?
yeah, like
it's over for you.
I can't wait to see what they do with that like Wonder Woman side of it, because she's such a powerful character. You got to imagine that they bring in some super powerful villains to just again humble you and like make you coming back and actually fearing these nemesis. I'm so excited for gameplay of this. This is like top of my list now. Like Jeff Keighley said, like we weren't expecting this. This completely blew my mind. Like I joined the show late, so I didn't see it live when it happened, but I saw like the chat, like Wonder Woman. It's like, okay, Wonder Woman, what could this be? And then you look into some more details. It's like, oh shit, it's Monolith. Okay, I love the games they did. Then you brought up Nemesis system. I didn't even know what that was when you first said it, and then I Googled it. It's like, wait, what? How is this gonna work in Wonder Woman? It just got me so hyped.
Like S Bub says, after you beat up Cheetah 75 times, she'll still be angry. It should still be coming and everything like that. Yeah, just a few notes that they had that they put out. I already hit them pretty much, but single player, open world, original story. Diana will fight to unite Amazons and mankind. Players will forge connections with Diana enemies and allies as the game progresses. So I wonder if there'll kind of be a system where it's like someone you help, maybe you help them at a certain point and they trust you a bit more. Maybe if you're like, oh no, I'm going to do this other side like mission, they might be like, oh, I don't trust you. So I'd love to see if there was a nemesis system almost the other side where it is like doing favors or good things for other people, or if like you fail the battle, maybe like we can't trust you or you'll get like less gold, whatever it may be, right? But
yeah.
Yeah.
Before we pass it to Dylan, one last thing I'll say is that line when it's Diana's mother like speaking, like, my daughter, a new threat comes to our shores, I must call you home. I'm just so excited to like just explore what's their land even called?
Themyscira.
Yeah, Themyscira.
Yeah.
Like I'm so excited to see that. I think like on the next gen consoles it's just going to be so visually pleasing, like from what we've seen of it in the movies. That's just like a certain, interpretation of it, but it's just such a beautiful place and I can't wait to visit that. And just explore it. The fact that it's open world. There was another line where it says like, let's see if I can see. Yeah, the story will follow. The story will follow Diana as she seeks to unite her Amazon family and the humans from the modern world. So I'm curious what that entails. Like maybe the humans, I don't know, invading Themyscira. They must be some pretty powerful humans if they're fighting these Amazonians. But I'm so intrigued at what we're going to be seeing.
Well, it's interesting because like the Lord of the Rings games always had like a map, but then they'd expand and get bigger and bigger. And there might be like, oh, you go through a tunnel, and it's like another place. But it was never like you're leaving this like country to go somewhere else. You always stayed kind of within the vicinity of like what this Middle Earth location was. So I don't think you'd be seeing her go to present day, but you never know. All it takes is a boat ride, and maybe she's there. Not sure. So what do you think about this, Dylan?
Yeah, I mean, you guys are much bigger, both Monolith and Wonder Woman fans than me, so I defer to you guys for it. I'm glad you're super excited. I think Wonder Woman is like the perfect candidate for a game like this. She just has so much potential with her moveset, particularly the lasso. Like I just can't wait to see the kind of combos and like hooks
Oh,
you can
yeah.
do, or just like combo attacks. Maybe you could probably even use it for traversal to like climb stuff. Like
Oh,
that just
100%.
that just
Yeah.
seems like super fun. I guess I'm just super curious how the nemesis system is going to work here because, and I didn't play much of the Shadow, the first one, or whatever the first one's called.
I think
I
it's
didn't
Shadow
play.
of Mordor and then Shadow of War, right? That's
Yeah,
the way it
that's
goes.
right.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay,
Yeah.
Shadow of Mordor. I didn't
Yeah.
play too much of it, but it seems like that would be much easier to have that nemesis system where like the orcs, you're kind of it's almost like a spore creature creator where you can like take these several things and like just randomly create a bunch of characters enough to make like a ton of villains for that system to work. So I wonder how that'll work here. Like, is each one of them a unique villain from the comic books? And like I'm sure over the years, like Wonder Woman has a ton of those candidates, but is that too much beyond their like budget, or is it more just like there'll be a lot of generic villains that are mixed in with those like nemesis system villains? So I'm curious to see if they like pull it off and they have like I don't know, like how many would you need at minimum for that game to work? Like 20, 30 villains? Like that seems like a lot for like unique, fights for all these characters
Yeah.
of completely different skill sets.
They might have like I don't know what's the God of War? What's his name? I'm forgetting that right now.
Ares.
Ares. They might have Ares, but then I imagine it'll just be a bunch of like Ares goons that have been taken over, or they're a bunch of bad guys. That's what
I'm
I think
picturing
they'll
like
do.
mutants or something, like kind of
Yeah.
deformed people.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we've been stealing people from Earth or like Midgard and taking them, and that's what I bet you'll have. And you'll have like 3 to 4 actually main big boss villains, but I think you'll have a lot of goons that are made of clay or something like that that will use that role of the like Diana, you killed me. So that's what I think they'll do.
Hopefully that works then, and people aren't like, man, I wish these were like, because obviously a unique Wonder Woman villain for each one would be cool, but that's just like, how do you even do that?
It's a hard
it just
ask.
seems like that would take 20 years to make that game. So so I'm curious to see more.
You're just bumping into the Joker. Hey,
yeah,
they use every
decapitate him.
Yeah,
it's like a
Freeze.
multiverse. Yeah, multiverse kind of thing.
Yeah.
One thing I forgot to mention that I'm really curious to how they're gonna tackle it, and I'm sure it's gonna be a big part of the game, is like if I'm thinking of like Batman Arkham City, that's the one I played. Like there's a lot of times when you're like investigating and like having that route of Batman, not just kicking the shit out of villains. I'm really excited to just see that aspect. Like she's not a detective, but still she has the lasso of truth, and like what that aspect's gonna be of just like it's not just it's not just like a beat 'em up game, there's more to that, and I'm whether it's just like puzzles, like okay, there's this ancient, I don't know, artifact area where you have to like try and do the puzzle to get it to figure it out. Like I'm excited to just I'm assuming they're going to showcase that in one of the gameplay showcases. They have to. It's part of the gameplay. They're trying to sell the game, so I'm just very interested in seeing that side of it.
Yeah, see, I might go the other route, that unless they could be really evolving from Lord of the Rings, but Lord of the Rings to me was pretty much like mostly beat 'em up, so I wonder if it will be that. But Diana does like pose a different type of character, so but I guess that kind of puts the nail in my getting another version of that game. I was wondering if we'd get a 3 at some point, and maybe we'll down the line. Maybe once that TV show starts popping off, Lord of the Rings will have a big boom again. But seems like I imagine.
No, you're getting the Gollum game, so buckle up.
Right? Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to watch the trailer. Thanks for
go ahead and watch that. It's coming up. But like, I feel like this is gonna happen, and if this game at least reviews as well as Lord of the Rings did, I think it will sell well, and that means there'll probably be Wonder Woman 2 and straightforward stuff like that. So I enjoy those Lord of the Rings games while they happen. The one thing I don't know if it will happen. You know what? It could happen. What I really hope they bring from Shadow of War was the part where you start building up armies and you would go on and have full on army battles with like other captains, stuff like that. Because it's like the Amazons. Yeah, and I wonder, oh man, with that whole statement of, and you got to forge like alliances with people. That would be great, of like forging alliances with other warriors or soldiers to go fight with. I bet they're going to keep that, because that was one of my favorite things, is like, oh, you don't have enough men or people, or you don't have enough magic even to go fight this war. And then when you did, it legitimately felt cinematic every time when it was like you and your like 100 orcs versus them, their 100 orcs. It was just like full on Helm's Deep and stuff. Imagine that in the DC like Amazon world. That could be lots of fun. So.
Oh, like you said, the cinematic side of it would just be so visually pleasing, especially just with modern technology and the fact that we're in Themyscira, and it's just such a vibrant location. Like, it's just going to be really, really cool to see.
After that, well, anything on One Room? We're good there. Good there. After that, it was best performance that went to Maggie Robinson for Lady Dimitri and
Dimitrescu.
Demetres and Resident Evil Village. I think it's one, a good performance, but two, just that she was the thirst of the year. The second that came, she was memes there. So I think it's one of those sometimes very popular, but from what I've seen, she's deserved. I will play this game. I love 7, and I will right when it's Game Pass or PS Plus, or I have a fucking time. I will, but good for her. It's good. It's good to see someone almost on the newer field win it too, because lots of times like the people that are we already know their names win it. So and I don't know her from much. So
Yeah, she beat Giancarlo Esposito. That's pretty
Yeah.
big honors. So
I think people are just fucking tired of seeing him because they've been seeing him for 3 years. Far Cry's out now, right? Like it's out. It's officially out. I don't gotta.
It's
There's
been
not gonna
out.
be another E3 or Summer Game Fest where I gotta watch this
I
trailer.
mean, there will
again.
be DLC, like probably 100, because
Oh!
Ubisoft does, just endless DLCs for their games.
Yeah.
So
Like
you'll see
Bryan
more of
Cranston.
them.
Oh, I'm here to take over. And then after that, this. So here's one thing I want to get your type of temperature check on. I think this is a big deal. Alan Wake 2 announced survival horror game. That's what it's going to be. Now, I think it's a big deal, but I feel like they forecast this a little when they did like the remake or like just a remaster of the old game and they put it to these consoles. I feel like I thought we had this conversation if they might be poke around to see what the interest is, and clearly they weren't even waiting. It was like, well, let's put that out and then we're gonna make this game. This finally gives me an excuse because I think Kirklin was in the same boat as me that I didn't play it when it came out. Always want to, pass me by. This gives me a reason to play this game because I think it said 2023. Yeah. So I got a whole year. I want to play the first one because this just feels like it's right up my alley. It's survival horror now. So yeah, it's a long-awaited sequel. What did you think about this, Dylan?
Yeah, it's weird. I loved Alan Wake when I played it like a decade ago, whenever it came out and I was in high school or something like that. I loved that game so much. I was really, really into it. But I don't know, for some reason I just don't care anymore. I guess it was just so long ago that I don't know, like even this trailer just didn't really get me hyped. Now I think I might, try and maybe replay the first one, or I don't know. I guess I'm just maybe surprised that I'm not excited.
What if we
for
do a
it.
retro, Dylan? What if us three? What if we commit before 2023 that we do a retro together? We play it and then we do a cast on it. That's the way we got things done around here.
I feel like that's such a random game for us to pick if we're like, so rarely doing a retro for a game. But
we got the
I
sequel
would be
coming
down.
out. It ties in, because it's
Yeah.
or we all played and hate and we're like, we're not getting the second game,
I would be down to revisit the first one and see, the temperature check as you said, and then decide about the second one. But obviously, Remedy is kind of on top right now with Control being this huge game that didn't quite win Game of the Year, right? Or did it? I can't even remember anymore.
No, it didn't. But it was a lot of people's favorites and Game of the Year on lists and stuff like that. So
yeah, so I think it's cool. I think with you that I'm a bit surprised that it's announced now, because I would have thought, the remaster just came out like a few months ago, so I would have thought that maybe they were waiting to see how that would do before deciding if they're bringing it back. But then again, Control is like in the same universe as Alan Wake, so clearly they were already kind of thinking about the connection between these things, and this kind of just makes sense now. So yeah, it's cool.
Kirklin, how about you?
Yeah, this is I'd say surprising, but in hindsight, maybe not, because they had that remake not too long ago, right? Like, or was that this year even?
That was this
Alan
year,
Wake. Yeah. Okay, there you go. So getting ready, like getting it back into people's frontal lobes. Alan Wake's the thing. Get on this. And then they announced the second one. When the trailer started, I legit thought it was a Morbius game. I actually haven't even seen the trailer, so that one slipped through the cracks on me.
Well, because I was with someone, I can't remember who's in the Discord. It did look like Jake Gyllenhaal for a second. So I was like, oh, what is this? Because I was thinking Alan Wake, but then when it kind of looked like Gyllenhaal because he had longer hair, I'm like, what is this? And I was like, okay, no, it's Alan Wake. Yeah, Morbius game. Oh man, I would, I don't know if I would have been hyped on that one, but
yeah, I've played a little bit of Alan Wake. I think it's a really, really, really cool concept of just the fact that you have to like make your enemies vulnerable before you can actually do damage to them with the light. It was just a really cool concept, and it almost seems like a movie, like a video game that could be a movie. I think they did a really good job with that, at least from what I've heard and what I've played. And I think this is awesome for those Alan Wake fans. Maybe it's been too long. Maybe if you're like Dylan and it's just because it came out so long ago, right? Like early Xbox 360 days. I almost want to say
2010. I just looked it up.
Yeah.
Whoa, well,
that's crazy.
So when this comes out, it'll be 13 years after.
I'm excited to just hear more people's thoughts on it, through Twitter, and just like more people that have played it, and just temperature check for them. Like, I don't know, I haven't been following the Alan Wake communities. Is they're like, oh man, I'm just petitioning to get this, and it's finally here. 2023, it's a little ways away, but I'm excited to just follow it. At least I can't say I'll get it right away, or if ever, but I don't know. I'll be following it.
Those people that were in those Reddit threads and stuff like that, man, they must be hyped though. This must have been a great day for them. The people that have been like, this is my favorite game and everything like that. So let's take our next ad break. And also they said there'll be details next summer. So I imagine Summer's Games Fest. I feel like Healy kind of has their hooks in them. So that's smart, cool. Transition over, that'll be cool. So let's take our second ad break because we're gonna talk about a little hedgehog after this. So we'll be right back. And we're back. So I'm going to do two things because even though it happens later, I'm going to combine them. We're going to talk about both Sonic things now, but let's talk about the movie. So obviously Sonic 1 came out. Some people say it's a great video game movie. Those people are liars and do not trust a single thing they say, but it is a video game movie that nonetheless had some success. So it is getting a sequel and they're going balls to the wall. You got a full Robotnik with Jim Carrey. You got Tails, you got Knuckles, you got the helicopter, stuff like that. Dylan, did you ever see Sonic 1?
No.
So you're not going to be seeing Sonic 2?
Maybe at some point in my life. But it's not high on my list. I've missed so many movies this year. I think I have a good like 20 in line before Sonic, or even more than that. So
yeah,
not
Kirklin,
too high on my list.
You and Taylor were at least positive on. I know you're like our resident Sonic guy on the GV crew.
That's
so
right.
What did you think? This is number 2. This is coming out February. I know we will likely be reviewing this.
Oh, I will. Even if I have to do a solo, I'm doing this. No, I really liked the first one, actually. I thought the voice actor that did Sonic was really good. And, it's not an A+ movie, but for a video game movie, I think it's passable. So that's saying a lot for the other video game movies we've had in the past. And yeah, I thought it was a good trailer. I liked seeing the biplane. That's like a staple. I think it's Sonic 2. Like the opening of that game is like Sonic and Tails on the biplane, and then Knuckles is actually like the immediate villain, like in the first level there. So it's really cool seeing him
playing like an asshole.
Oh yeah, come on, it's Tails' work of art there. And yeah, I'm not expecting anything game changing. I'm expecting pretty much more of the same from the first movie, and if it's at that quality or better, I'll come out of it happy. Because I really like Sonic. I got this, and then I also got a teaser or gameplay trailer. I guess not gameplay trailer, more of just like a world trailer for the next Sonic game. So it's great. Sega Genesis was like my first console other than a PC, so I had all those Sonic games on there with Mortal Kombat. So
you were on the nostalgia side of the battle.
A lot of nostalgia there. I won't comment to that, but yeah.
So I'm somebody that I think I liked Sonic, and I don't like Sonic. I'm lying, but it was. It's fine, but I think what I really hate about it is I don't think it's an awful movie, but I just think I hate that people consider it's the first great comic or video game movie. It's like, if this is what we're considering the first great video game movie, man, we got some low standards. We can still do better, I've
never said that, so fortunate
you
get
a higher review than doing so, but no, anyways. So I was always like, I don't know if I need this sequel, everything like that, but I'm not gonna lie, I don't know why this trailer just hit me, and I actually got hyped for it. And I think it's 100% pure drug nostalgia of Tails, Knuckles, all this stuff, seeing the jewel, and this is where the power. But it was a hype moment when they're Sonic is fighting Robotnik, and then all of a sudden Knuckles comes out of there, and he's it's like a superhero moment where he slams him down. There's a big Sonic boom. Now, do I think the trailer's gonna be better than this movie? Absolutely, but at least it gave me a little more excitement. I'm gonna try and go in there like I did with the last Space Jam movie and just turn my brain off and be like, okay, I'm gonna try and really enjoy this one and not even pick it apart. I'm sure I will, but the trailer it got me a little bit excited and everything like that. So we'll see what it does in February. But also, because like I said, I'll just combine it here. They announced pretty much what everyone's kind of joking as of Sonic's Breath of the Wild. I'm going to call it Speed of the Wild. I feel like that's more fitting. Sonic for, I would imagine, pretty much the first ever. I know they did like some things, I think, in the GameCube era that were not that successful, but this is looking like it's Sonic Frontiers. It's coming out next year on all the platforms, everything like that. And it's looking like it's going to be Sonic's open world game. And Kirklin, I'll throw it back to you as a Sonic guy. What does that do for you? Because obviously, I don't know last time you bought a Sonic game, but would this be changing that potential future of a Sonic open world game? You know, and it's a whole new world for the Hedgehog.
Yeah, the last Sonic game I purchased was Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, which is like definitely a GameCube era game, and I absolutely love that one, more so for the story. I think with Sonic and like the 3D element, I'm not the biggest fan of it. I think it just works so much easier as a platformer, because like when you're going fast and all of a sudden I'm going left, right, up, down, it's like I can't even fucking follow what's going on here. So it's so much easier when it's a platformer. You know, just hold right. You know, like, and then you just jump. Maybe I'm just a little too simple for these other games, but I think the world they're showing off is interesting at least. I don't know. I'll follow it if it seems easier to play than what I've experienced from other like 3D Sonic games in the past. That might sell it a little bit better, but I'm just. I don't know. I think at this point it's weird to say, but I'm more interested in the movie than this game.
My
Yeah.
god!
No, I'm not. I'm gonna stick with that. Yeah. So, what about you, Travis? Are you more interested in this game? Can you see yourself buying this game?
100%.
Oh yeah.
I said that in Discord. I said your boy might be buying a Sonic game next year. I think there's something. I can't remember if it was Colin or S Bubs, but one of them said like, "Oh, there's something appealing about being a speedster in an open world thing." Especially because there's so many times I just picture my young self as Link in Majora's Mask, just fucking running across that, like trying to get before daytime and nighttime. Like I'm going as fast as I can, and all I'm doing is running, and that's why they put the bow in Wind Waker. But just talking about like there's an open, huge field, and you're Sonic, go. I don't know. That seems cool. Now I don't know if it's a day one because it's one of those like I don't know if I need to drop 80 bones on it, which is probably more like 100 bones for us nowadays. This is a game if they like doubt what happened, but if it was like a Game Pass game, this would be a day one play for me. But this could be one of those like Boxing Day, like Black Friday, like if it's ever a $30-$40 sale game, I could get it. All depends on reviews, but I and again, as people may like joke that I'm a Breath of the Wild hater, that is still a fantastic game. And if you were to take even just like a smidgen of like how good that game is, put it into a Sonic game, I don't know. There's something about that just it seems like appealing. It also seems like a game that could just fall right on its face, and then we get like a lot of 4 out of 10s and stuff like that. But I'm pulling for the Hedgehog, and yeah, I'm really interested. It's in like one of my most anticipated games right now, just to see how it goes. Yeah, like obviously there's tons more I'm going to be buying day one, but there's just something about them like this could be tons of fun, and it looked like it was a little darker too, so that always hits my vibe. So. Dylan, Dylan look like he's chomping on the bit to put me down.
I don't want to drag down the positive vibes. I'm not. I'll just say I'm not a Sonic guy. I'm not interested in this. Let's move on. I don't want to crush anyone's hopes and dreams.
Travis, did you ever play the like werewolf one where he was? I think it might have been a GameCube one. That one was like, man, they're breaking barriers here. I never played it. I actually heard quite positive things from it.
Really?
Yeah, he turns into a werewolf. Yeah, there you go.
Dylan, I want your thoughts. I want your full Monty. Why? What look bad was? What is your? Because I want to hear. What are your red flags?
Honestly, when it comes to Sonic, like I mean,
just the character.
I don't care for the gameplay. I don't like the character designs. I hate the music. I just don't like anything about Sonic, to be honest. And I know it just never worked for me.
Gotta go fast.
Never worked for me. And I will say, here's my one thing on the open world. Is Forza Horizon 5 was an open world game, and obviously you're driving really fast cars, and I feel like I explored the entire thing in like 5 hours, and then my interest in the game after that was shot because I could still go around and do new races in those areas, but it's like I've seen all the areas now, so I'm kind of done. And so I feel like if you're a character whose like main feature is that you go everywhere incredibly fast and are not in one place for more than 5 seconds, that I don't know. I feel like this map needs to be really, really, really huge for it to have any sort of legs. And if that is the case, then it's probably just going to be a really boring open world where it's just an empty green field with nothing to do, or maybe some like really lame collectibles or something. Yeah. So I don't know. I guess I don't have much faith in this, but I am absolutely not a Sonic fan, so it is not for me in any way.
But see, that's why your points, like you would be 100% right, and that's why I would never buy this day one for me. I could never, like, I just don't. I think this will be a fun try game one day or something like that, or go half season or so on. I couldn't put the full Monty
Yeah.
down, so no, those are good points. Didn't think about like clearing the map that quickly because you easily could, unless there's hopefully like other like kind of same thing, like different worlds you could go to at the same time. But we'll see.
Didn't
It
look
came.
like it in the trailer, but
No,
we'll
it
see.
no. I'm hoping, but I'm not expecting.
It was a short trailer,
Witcher
to be
here.
fair. So who knows? There's probably a lot more to it.
It's coming holiday 2022, so a full year from now. So let's see if it hits that date there. I'm just gonna throw this in here just because we were just talking about movies, so we'll get it done with and move along. Halo. Halo had a TV so here's the thing. They released a 15-second teaser a few days ago, like full trailer at the Game Awards. 30 seconds to me does not count as a full trailer. Yeah, it's a full trailer, but so it's funny. The opening shot, I looked at the CG, I'm like, oh, this looks like really good. After that, everything just started to go like really downhill. And just because like I wonder how, I'm very curious how the show's gonna do on Paramount Plus with everybody, because I know there'll be people like Taylor and Xbox people that like tune into it. Obviously, it's next year, so they can show another trailer. But for like the first like big thing, I feel like even as the non-Halo fan, you're supposed to grab me and be like, I want to see this show. It's not that I didn't even do that. I just felt like it didn't even try. It's like, we're just going to show you people staring at screens and Master Chief running around, and he does this. He literally does the superhero landing. And it was, I don't know. I thought like I was waiting for a bigger impact, because that first shot, when I looked, I'm like, man, they actually got a really good budget. Maybe I will be watching the show. And then as it progressed, just like look like, okay, maybe we'll get a story trailer eventually. We probably will, but I just thought it was strange for a first look. I was waiting for it to be bigger, especially because Halo and Master Chief is just such this iconic franchise, and the game's out right now. I thought it was gonna have a lot more oomph, and it was just looking like maybe some kind of straight to DVD sort of like sci-fi stuff. I know, Dylan, you sound like you were kind of the same as far as lackluster.
That's the vibe I got. I'm a huge Halo fan. I've played every game except for 5. Playing Halo Infinite multiplayer lately, and I'll wait for the campaign until I have more time to play through like more of it. Because I'm going away in a couple days. But yeah, I'm a huge Halo fan, and this just didn't really do anything for me. I haven't written it off yet. I want to wait and see some more trailer, or maybe like hear some people's impressions on it, and if it is worth it. But to me, it's like there was a couple like really nice shots, but I guess I'm just concerned that, do they have the budget for like a whole series to like last them through a whole series, or like are they kind of just blowing it on a couple shots here or there? Because it seemed like kind of grounded for a Halo experience. So yeah, I don't know. I guess I need to see more. It was a bit too short really for me to get like too many impressions off of, unfortunately.
Yeah. Kirklin, what about you?
Yeah, I feel like I already kind of committed to like a watch along with Taylor on this, so it
You
doesn't
did.
really
That was your
matter.
mistake. Yeah.
It doesn't really matter what happens these trailer wise. I agree with Dylan. I think there was a couple shots at the beginning where I'm like, damn, this looks like, the scale of this looks insane. They showed off some like really intricate space station thing. I don't know what that was. That was really beautiful. But then we just got to a bunch of shots of like the cast. It almost looked like one was just like her hand on her face. I think at that point I legit like got up and like went back to the dishes, because I'm like, okay, we're not getting anything for this. But it's Halo. I'm not the biggest Halo fan, but I just am so interested in the world. I've only really played through the campaigns when I was a young buck and like didn't follow the story at all. So it's like kind of new to me, which is weird to say, considering like I've played through Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3 for sure, maybe Halo Reach as well. And I could not tell you what the story was, because I was probably like skipping cutscenes at that time. But I hope that's a successful series, just because I think the world of Halo is really, really cool. In my opinion, it's one of like the greatest video game IPs of in history. Just the impact that it's had on like the Xbox era, like that first Xbox. I feel like when that game Halo came out, like it was a big deal, and it's still relevant. Say what you will about the quality of the games. I mean, the new one's reviewing well, so that's really cool. And yeah, I want it to do great, whether it be for Taylor and his love for Halo, or just me committing to the show. I hope it's a good watch. So there you go. I'm hoping for a better trailer in the future.
We'll see. I'm sure it's next year, no date or anything like that.
Yeah.
We got a quick shot, not a quick shot, but like, I don't know, 30 seconds or something of Horizon Forbidden West, not Forbidden Coast, Kirkland. Again, I love some of the creatures and animals they're showing off. They showed like a robotic snake this time, which was really cool and stuff like that. This is a game, I think me and Dylan have said this before, that every time I see it, I just go, wow, I'm in love. I can't wait to play more of it. Like, I'm just very excited for a sequel. I love that they keep showing off different terrain, the different creatures. No date whatsoever right now. I know they don't even, I know it's next year, but I was wondering if they're going to throw something here and they didn't. So that makes me, it's just so funny how this game was supposed to come out this year. And then it's like, well, maybe early next year. Now it's just like, they're not even like putting is there a date on it?
It says February 18th, and I thought there was a date. I don't know if there was one in the trailer, but Googling it does say February 18th.
It's strange that they didn't have it in this trailer then. Cause yeah, so
I know
for
that
me,
makes you feel like not as confident. Hey,
yeah, and that's what I was saying, where I just feel like that's happened before, where it's like it's getting closer, and then they start showing. Because remember they did that with the direct or the last, not direct, or what is it, the PlayStation, where
State of
they're
Play.
state of play, yeah, where it was like getting in that window frame, and they did like a showcase, and they didn't drop any date at all. I was like, oh, and what this felt like too. So the game just looks beautiful. I can't wait to play some more with Aloy, but nothing too juicy there. Anything to add, Dylan?
Yeah, I kind of looked away when the trailer was on because at this point I'm like, I don't need to see any more. But yeah, the snake enemy looked pretty cool.
Oh
Honestly,
yeah.
I'm a little up in the air just because it comes out so close to Elden Ring. I don't know if I'll be playing this on launch. Sadly, we'll wait
Oh.
and see. I kind of hope it does get delayed because if it comes out when it does right now and Elden Ring doesn't get moved at all, then I think I might be going Elden Ring instead. Just because they're both such massive games, it's hard to
Mhm.
justify getting both of them. But we'll see how I feel in February when it's closer to, and I'm just like, okay, I can't wait.
That hype might get you. That hype might
Yeah,
get
but
you.
I'm kind of hoping it gets delayed, even by like just 3 weeks,
March.
a month.
Yeah.
Then it maybe kicks it out of that Elden Ring time zone.
After that, Final Fantasy VII remakes going to Epic Game Stores. I think that was kind of rumored or anything like that. I'm not sure if you guys have anything to say on that. No,
It's
going
cool.
once, going twice. Beck's action game went to Returnal. That one made sense to me just because a lot of hype for that, but I didn't think it was going to win any of the big ones. But one day I'll play it, but it just sounds like I just wouldn't have time when they have like those long non-death things before a save. I remember I was really excited for the game. Then Dylan told me like the gimmick. I was like, well, that's a game I can't play as a
I feel like
father
they
of
might have
three.
maybe they've fixed that by now. I feel like a lot of people were complaining about that. I don't know
Yeah,
if they've done anything.
I love the gimmick. Just make it two different modes. Just make one mode where you can do that. That's all you got
Yeah.
to do. Like options. That's what we like. And then so there was this game. I got really excited because Keely said from one of my favorite Japanese developers. I was like, oh
Mm-hmm.
fuck, here it comes, because I thought he was being like coy of like not dropping Kojima. And then there was something
I
about
thought so
Silent
too.
Hill. And I was like, oh my god, it's happening. And then it was, and it was like, oh, from one of the guy that worked on Silent Hill, and now he's on his own. It got a lot of hype. It was a game called
Slitterhead.
Slitterhead.
Very weird name.
Yeah,
weird game.
Dylan, you take it. Actually, you take it. I'm still formulating my thoughts even 2 hours later, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I will say that I've not played any of the Silent Hill games, but it is really high on my backlog. It's high on my priority list of games that I've missed over the years, but I need to go back to. So I can't speak on that, but it's cool that the original dev is kind of coming around and making a new game, because it seems like at some point Silent Hill kind of went off the rails and people
Yes.
they turned to like really bad games, even though the first one and I think two are pretty highly regarded. This game was very disturbing. It's just like showing just regular Japanese people walking around and then like just monsters burst out of their heads. So it looks very disturbing. And I'm intrigued. I think it's weird. It's got a really weird name, and I'm potentially down to check it out. I think this is one I definitely wait and see kind of the reviews on it, see what people think of it, because it could be a disaster considering what happened to Silent Hill. But I think this was a cool announcement. A fun new game out there that exists. I don't know if I have too much more to say just because I haven't played Silent Hill, so it's hard for me to judge like, oh, this is how I feel like it compares to the game I played all those years ago.
Kirkland, any interest in Slitterhead?
I have zero interest in this. Yeah, I I like the monsters designs. I think that shows like from what they've had in Silent Hill, but it just not really interested in playing it.
Yeah, this one did nothing for me. I was really intrigued when they're like walking down the alley, what's gonna happen. Then the monsters came like, okay, like yeah, it looks a little like Silent Hill, but then just it felt very like if you were, this is one of these type of, if it was a movie you'd find in the Blockbuster in the back, like, oh, this is some C-level horror movie, and just even the name Slitterhead. And it was weird because it was trying to be a little comedic, because at one point they just like, they're going over across buildings and they just see this guy on the patio, and it's like, ah, like, I don't know, there's
It's
something
very weird.
yeah,
It's very weird.
it didn't jive with me. It wasn't working. So yeah, I will not be getting Slitterhead or watching that. This was a game called Nightingale that it looked, because lots of it was first person. I'm more in first person a bit more nowadays, but still I'm kind of selective. It looked like a really cool game. It looked like a game that will have lots of maybe fans of it, but it just was a game that right away I went, looks cool, not for me. And I can't remember, they said it was made by somebody that I know had some notoriety, where it's like, oh, this definitely has a fan base already. Maybe I'll look while you guys are talking. But
Sure.
yeah, any thoughts on Nightingale, Dylan?
Yeah, I really like the trailer for this one. There's so many games in this space right now, this kind of cooperative survival
Mhm.
crafting sort of game. It's very like Rust or Valheim, things like that. And I've not really dipped my toes into too many of those, but this one really grabbed me. I really like the visuals. I like the base building aspect of it. And to me, the thing that stood the most was the enemies. It seemed like a really interesting enemy design. I like that, there's just like giants in this game that will come and destroy all of the stuff that you've built. I think that's so cool because normally those kind of spaces you build are kind of your safe zone. But the fact that like at any point just this giant could come through and just smash your building to pieces is so cool. So I would love to play this game, but it would definitely require getting some boys in there. So I don't know, Kirklin. I feel like this is maybe a Kirklin game. So Kirklin, if you want to check it out with me, Travis, of course, you too, get Taylor in there. That'd be a fun stream. We'll see how much it is, free to play, maybe, who knows. But yeah, I really like the look of this one, and I do really want to check it out.
So they were ex BioWare people, because I remember him mentioning this. They were people that worked on Dragon Eggs into Dragon Age,
Dragon Egg.
Dragon Egg,
Eggs.
Dragon Age Inquisition, or whatever the fuck it was called. That which one
Inquisition.
in Inquisition. Thank you. Whenever that was in the Game Awards, it won Game of the
Yeah.
Year. So that's how I remember
Yeah.
when they said that. I was like, oh, there's definitely a huge Dragon Age fan base that would like probably kind of splinter over to this.
Very
so.
different genre though from
Yes.
like
Yeah.
the BioWare style narrative focused RPG. At least it seemed like from this trailer, but that is cool. It's got some big names behind it.
Yeah, like Dylan, you hit the nail right on the head there of just like the type of game that this is like. I've seen them around quite a few times around these days. The first one that I played, I think the only one I played really, was actually The Forest, and I got that like in early access when it was pretty cheap, and it's been updated so much since then. I remember getting it and it was really really fun with friends, and that was when it was really janky, and we still played it and had a lot of fun with it. And then just jumping back now that it's like basically a completed game and it's like just so fleshed out and like really optimized, it's like, man, I miss in school when you just had like summers off, because I feel like I could just spend.
Oh my god!
like,
Yes.
Yes.
You know how
I
much
just-
I would kill for 2 months off paid right now? Oh, fuck. That is
Yeah.
my dream.
These are the kind of games that like you those,
Yeah. I'll play
It's-
Nightingale every day of the week if I get 2 months off paid.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like it could be.
Patreon.com, GeekVerse.
yeah, seriously, get us full-time streamers. Yeah.
I feel like I could just see myself playing this till like 1 a.m, sleeping for like 6 hours, first thing in the morning, just getting back on there with your friends. Like, it just looks so much fun to that aspect, and it's nothing I've. Maybe I shouldn't say that. I was gonna say it's nothing I haven't seen before, but it's like stuff I've seen before, but just like in more unique ways with the enemies. Dylan shouted them out. I definitely think that's the highlight for me. I'm like, okay, this is a game I've seen before, different monster designs. And then I just see this like Titan like walking into the town, just like stomping on your buildings that you made. And that aspect where it's like, I think at that up until that point, I was like, okay, this is a game I've seen before. Won't get it because I have The Forest, and if I want to play a game like that, I've already purchased a game like that. Until I saw the enemies, and it was like, oh, okay. And it seemed like a lot of the creation aspect is actually quite just just expansive. Like some of the buildings that they were making, whether it was the defenses or just like the structures, that just seemed really really different from just like wooden house, and then like you can put in 2 wooden houses there. Like it just seemed like you could really get creative with your designs, and I'll definitely be following it. I'm not gonna commit to it right now, just like I said, like the time aspect of it. It's like fuck, if I had 2 months off, I would guarantee I'm playing this day one. But unfortunately, just don't have time for everything these days, so I have to be a little bit more selective with my games. But very, very cool world, at least, that they're showcasing here. And just like the different like portal aspect, it seems like you can go to like different locations, different climates or something. I'm curious to what extent that is. Maybe I'm mixing my trailers here. This is the one where she like goes through portals, right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, good. I was worried. I was seeing faces a little bit blank.
Actually, no, that was
You've
Portal
seen
Girls.
this exact same trailer
Portal
like a
Girls.
million times, so I don't blame
Yeah.
you for getting mixed up.
Let's take an ad break, and then we got some Cuphead and some other good things to talk about. So we'll be right back. And we're back. So yeah, they announced Cuphead DLC out June 30th. Talk about a backlist and log of games now that have an Xbox. Definitely want to check out. Gwen was jazzed about this game. Gwen was really like, I don't know, obviously with the aesthetic and everything, but like when that came on, she couldn't take her eyes off and she was asking all about. So I might just have to even play it just for her benefit in the future. But Cuphead's the same as me. Always looks great. One day I'll play it. But again, I just know how much of a massive following Cuphead has. And this is another game that my timeline just like lit up with like, oh, DLC, finally a date. So anything to add on that Cuphead DLC?
I'm like, man, is this actually DLC? Because the game came out like 5 years ago or something.
Long
But
time
you're
ago.
right, it is DLC. So that is
Yep.
that is interesting rather than making it a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've played through the first one a little bit with Shay, and I love the aesthetic of it. It's like that Steamboat Willie vibes, and the music's phenomenal. I thought the way that they presented the DLC was really fun. Again, just more music heavy, and I haven't beaten the game, so I won't be purchasing this DLC. Maybe one day, but it's hard.
game.
Okay.
Kirk likes to make his jokes. I couldn't even beat Elden Ring. I said this fool can't even beat a game, nonetheless Elden Ring.
And then my white knight Dylan Moss defended my honor with the Deathloop. There you go. I have at least one game under my belt this year.
Yeah, there you go.
But me and Travis both beat Death Stranding, and that game's fucking long. So
Oh yeah. That's 18 ed credit scenes, like it's not over. Yeah. Where are you on Death Stranding, Kirkland? I know you bought the director's cut.
I'm supporting the studio. That's
What
I do.
chapter are you? What chapter are you in
What a
Guardians?
cop-out response.
I'm on chapter 14. I'm gonna try and finish Guardians this weekend. Where are you?
Okay, I was gonna ask where you were. I think I'm on 11.
I'm
I actually, so that was a game
You're
I split
11,
with a buddy, and he's finished his exams I think on the 17th, and then that's when he'll want the game. So I got some time to play.
Yeah, you got to crunch through it.
A one story narrative of the year. Dylan.
That was
Does
awesome.
Convince you anymore? I was shocked. I thought if anything, it had a chance to actually. Don't know, not at all.
I'm happy
That's a
for it,
good
but I
story.
still have no interest in playing as only Star-Lord. But it's
Oh,
cool.
man.
I'm glad people love it. Yeah.
It's a fun game.
I thought I had a chance with music, but it was nice to see it at least win somewhere.
Yeah, you'd love the soundtracks. Good stuff. Hideo Kojima appeared just to give us blue balls because he introduced the movie. He introduced Nightmare Alley because they were just like, well, Guillermo del Toro was in Death Stranding, so and Kojima made that Nightmare Alley. Maybe we'll review it. Maybe we won't. Go ahead.
He was giving us blue balls, and then I was worried, and the next scene is just Willem Dafoe, and it was like, oh,
yeah. Spider-Man review next week, baby. And then best art, Guillermo was there to introduce best art direction, which went to Deathloop, which was one of the I think 2 or 3 ones. I know it won 2. I don't know if it won 3, but one of the other ones it won. So
Yeah, I think it won 2
yeah.
awards.
Yeah. Anything to say on that, gentlemen, as the Deathloop fans here?
Well deserved. That game is beautiful. Very unique style.
This is the one that Dylan, I think, picked, and I didn't. So
You picked Henna, yeah.
Yeah, I
Sucks to
stand
suck.
by it because Ken is great, but I'm really glad Deathloop won here because just that like 70s aesthetic style that they had. I don't know if it's 70s or 60s. It was just really, really interesting and cool, and yeah, the designs were great.
And then after they listed off a bunch of words, I'm sure again people don't like, but they do what they do. You had Content Creator of the Year Dream. You had Players Voice Award Halo Infinite, which I don't really understand because it's not even been out that long. Like I don't know, that's just such a whatever. Best RPG Tales of Our Eyes, and then Best Score Music Near Replicant. Don't know.
Did I pick that one, Dylan? I picked it for somewhere.
We both picked Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy
Oh,
for
okay.
sure, so we were wrong there. I did pick Tales of Rise for RPG.
Nice.
Versus, what did you pick? You picked.
I picked the anime one that looked
You
cool.
picked Scarlet Nexus.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
And then best multiplayer game went to It Takes Two, which obviously we'll talk about later on at the end. Best mobile game went to Jensen Impact. Yeah, and those were all the ones they showed off there. So again, and then best narrative went to Marvel's Guardians, which I was kind of, again, I'm not gonna be my grandma on the couch during Oscar like, it should have not won this because I've not played the other game, so I can't judge it fairly. I was just surprised because I like Guardians. I don't think it has like as strong as a narrative as like a Spider-Man PS4 does, but that is the best thing about Guardians. I think is the narrative, is the conversation, and like storyline with the characters. And I will say, in the middle of the game, that game does get really like dark enough, and there's some really cool like trickery it does with like the scenes and like you going into different portals and stuff. So that was really cool. But
yeah, I quite like the person accepting the award. Actually, I thought that she not only like showed a lot of passion, but what she said of like the writers and how they were able to make comedy look easy. And I think that's a standout in the game actually, because like I'm like almost belly laughing like at certain moments in that game. And I feel like in a game like that where you're just constantly hit with humor, it can get a little repetitive, maybe sometimes just a little, I don't know, I don't want to say cringy, but just like it's like, ugh, that didn't hit well. But I think majority of the comedy in that really hit for me. And I like the person accepting the award. She seemed just really, really happy, and that was great.
it's really fun, Dylan. You know,
I'm glad you liked it.
no, I was
finished
just
Inscription.
yeah, it's true. Yeah, no, I was just trying to look and see. I'll have to look later. I just want to look and see how much it sells, because I'm just wondering between this and sales if we're going to get a sequel in the future, you know, which I just kind of find kind of funny if, you know, that gets it, and Avengers nothing, and some other Marvel games nothing. But yeah, we'll have to see. Another game that I don't know how to pronounce it, Tisha or Taisha, I don't know, but
I thought it
it
was like Chia.
it pretty much
like
just looked like Dora, directed by Zack Snyder or something like that. Like it was Dora all grown up in a big world, but like another game that Gwen looked like she had like, oh, this looks really cool. This game looked really fun, but this goes to my backlog of ones that I would try on Game Pass or something like that, like some sort of platform.
PlayStation, isn't it? I think it was a PlayStation studio.
Whatever. I'm not playing.
Pass.
I'm not paying for it. Is what I'm saying. I'm not paying an additional
okay.
price for it. Is what I'm saying. But it looked really fun. It just, you know, nice world though. I like it.
Yeah, I really, really like this trailer. At first, I was like, okay, this animation's not the most refined I've seen. You know, got kind of in my mind. But honestly, at first I'm like, okay, this is Wind Waker, right? And then she's on her boat and she gets off the boat and then she's like picks up a bomb, throws it. I'm like, oh my god, this is Legend of Zelda. And then she's flying on, she's flying on her Deku Leaf, and I'm like, oh my god, this is just like a rip from Legend of Zelda. But then we get into the aspect of her like turning into objects or something, almost like Prey vibes, I guess you could shout out there, and just the way that she was interacting with the villains. And then it gets into like the different costumes you could use, her just like interacting with like friendly NPCs, and like maybe there's a trading aspect or something like that. Just the more that got revealed as the trailer went on, I'm like, man, this actually looks really, really cute and fun. And I think I could convince Shay to really want this one. So it could be purchased pretty solidly in my household there. And yeah, no, it looked beautiful. So
nice. Yeah, to me, this is just one of the many games that we saw at like E3 or Summer Game Fest at some point. And I feel like I've seen it so many times now that looks cool, but I don't really need to see it again.
I think I just like saw the boats like originally. So then when she was on the boat, I'm like, oh, I've seen this game. And then it was just like such a small aspect of the trailer that maybe I just didn't really watch it the first time around. But
so I was looking at Guardian. So like in UK it finished in October 2nd place, and in America it finished 7th place for the end month NPDs. So not too bad. Nothing like a runaway where I'm like, that's guaranteed, but you know, go ahead, UK people. Speaking of superhero video games, let's talk about Suicide Squad, because so we've seen it at Fandom. It was revealed this is the game Rocksteady's making. We did DC Fandom again this year, where it was a big trailer showing off a lot more of the character and lots of the Justice League. This was the first gameplay trailer, and I want to get Dilmas's thoughts first.
Yeah, I was pretty into it. I think this looks like fun. I'm still really curious on more of the structural stuff, like how the game works with co-op
Mhm.
and whatnot. And I think yeah, we haven't really seen too many diverse locations. Like it seems like all the trailers and stuff have been like just rooftop battles,
Yeah.
which I'm cool with. I mean, every superhero game needs a rooftop battle. All the great games have it, but I also want some variety, especially with the superhero stuff. But I think in terms of like the move sets and whatnot, I think it looks like a lot of fun. Seems like there's a lot of traversal element to the game, so that's why I want to see more levels. I want to see like what kind of verticality you have. Is you have characters jumping off buildings and Harley Quinn's doing like her Spider-Man thing
Mhm.
somehow, just whipping around. So yeah, I thought it looked like a lot of fun. I think to me this is a game I would definitely pick up if it had a big focus on the co-op and other people wanted to play it. I'm not so much interested in the single player part of it, at least based on what we've seen so far. But yeah, I thought this was a good showing for. I guess this is a first. I feel like we've seen gameplay, but maybe
This
not.
is the
I don't
first
know.
gameplay. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I don't remember what they showed at DC Fandom. Did they show? They probably just showed, I guess, another
It was just
anything.
another cinematic trailer.
Okay,
The second one was more about like the Justice League and showing off some of their
right.
designs and stuff like that because it's Suicide Squad kill the Justice League. So
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
no, I thought the gameplay was decent. I guess it didn't blow me away, but it looks like fun. It's a game I would want to check out, but I don't know. The price tag could steer me away if it's
Yeah.
a $80 venture.
As Bub says, Suicide Squad is a day one. Clay
Yeah.
says, Family Clay says, it might be a day one for me too. Yeah, and that's why I'll let Kirkin go last because this, I thought me and Dylan would be switched because, like, I see the people in the chat, I see you. The more I see this game, the more I'm getting unsold. And I'm surprised. I feel like it should be at my bandwagon, but it's just because, like, you could play single player, but it is multiplayer. They've been cagey about what it is. It reminds me, not as exactly like Avengers, but the fact that on Wikipedia, it's just, yeah, it's a multiplayer game. So is there like them showing off this battle and it is just like this one location that reminds me a lot of the complaints we had about Avengers where it's like, oh, we only have these like 4 maps that we really go visit. There's always like a different type of mission, but it's like you're always at the street level, you're always at the winter level, you're always at the jungle, and that's where it's like, is this like that? And here's the thing, I like Avengers. I think I'm a big defender of Avengers, that I have a fun time playing and everything like that. But if this is that, I'll be less excited because like I have more intrigue of playing with those heroes that they picked with Avengers, not because like I'm a bigger Marvel fan, but just because the roster of the characters they had in Avengers intrigued me much more than Deadshot and Harley Quinn. Like I like Harley Quinn, but I don't like it. It's not the most interesting like play style, I don't think, or at least that's what this trailer didn't make me think. I didn't look at this and go, "Oh man, this was really turning my gears right now." So I I don't know. I need to see a little bit more, but when this game was revealed, especially it being Rocksteady, making arguably my favorite game at the Batman series, I thought this was a day one for me, but slowly but surely it is going away from that, and I think it's gonna become one of those that I might have like because Guardians, I was gonna wait, but then Kirkland the bastard, which yeah, go ahead, you take the dog out. Actually, well, Kirkland, yeah, give us your thoughts because I can ramble
Yeah.
after. Because yeah, go ahead.
I'm kind of surprised that you're saying that, Travis, because I thought just the fact it's like Suicide Squad,
I don't
DC
just like
co-op
everything
type
comic
game.
books. I'm not just a troll or a zombie.
Troll. Is that
but
what we're calling comic book fans now? Just trolls.
Pretty much, we should maybe sometime.
the DC ones, starting fire.
Oh my
But
god.
no, because I like the gameplay enough. I think it was similar from what I had originally seen with Avengers. So it's like, okay, well, this could be fun with friends for sure. And at Fandom, I was really like, okay, well, I'm gonna get was it Midnight Suns? No, what's that other one called?
Gotham
Gotham
Knights.
Knights. Gotham
Yeah.
Knights. I'm like, I really want to get Gotham Knights, but the fact that it's not co-op is a
Well,
pushback.
it's
So I was,
two. It's just 2 player. That's the problem. It's only 2 player co-op.
yeah,
Yeah.
and not solid on couch co-op. I can't remember if it was
Yeah, I
that or
think
not.
it's not couch co-op.
Yeah,
It
which
seems like
is
more and more. Yeah.
it's like a deal breaker for me, honestly. So I think when I saw the gameplay here, it's like, oh, okay, this would replace Gotham Knights now that we're finally seeing gameplay for it. But like you guys said, it's nothing groundbreaking. Like I think the fluid movement of the characters looked fun. The fact that the levels they had some verticality to them. It's not just like Ultimate Alliance. It's a different game, but it's mostly just like on one platform. You're not jumping on roofs and stuff like this. And I think the fluid movement of the characters was fun, but I don't know. We only saw one location. I would need to see more to really sell on it, and I think I think I wouldn't get it unless I knew like we had like a crew getting this that we could all play
A
together and have fun
squad?
that way. A Suicide Squad.
Yeah. What are we?
Um,
Some type of suicide squad?
but yeah, it's like I'm not cold on it. Like I think I'm lukewarm somewhere in the middle on it, and I'm just excited to see more gameplay. I think and like more levels. I think that could be a selling feature.
Hmm. Yeah, I think the one good thing that has versus Avengers is if you are playing solo, you can switch between heroes, which I know everyone wanted in Avengers, and that's not coming. But I think that is fun. I want to see a little bit more, and I guess it's kind of maybe it's from the get go. I was set up to not be 100% in because I'm very interested. I guess I've given interviews, but I just want more in depth interviews from how did they go from making like Batman, the Arkham series, which is solo player, like very story driven, to this, which I think is it's like completely a 180, where it just
Mm-hmm.
feels like it's not going to be that story driven, and it's not solo player. It's going to be a bunch of different characters. So I don't know. I hope it's a surprise, and yeah, it might be like because I was saying with Guardians, I wasn't going to get it, but then Kirklin says, I'm buying. They're like, okay, we can buy it, do reviews, stuff like that. It's in the Marvel family, stuff like that. So it's the same thing of like it is in the things we talk about. So when it comes to game time, I might end up getting it just because like it is some of our audience. But I just want to be. I see everyone so excited for the game. I'm not there yet. I'm excited for what Kirk was talking about with Gotham Knights. I'm excited obviously for Spider-Man and other superhero type games, but this one just isn't doing much for me. And who knows though? Maybe it will be Avengers, just kind of with no issues, or I don't know. It's just
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah,
We'll
I,
see.
I don't I don't blame you because if I guess to me there's just such a difference between this and the Batman games. Like I don't
Yeah.
even think of this as a Rocksteady experience, even though it obviously is. And I really like the first Batman game they did and how kind of contained it was. And I think that really worked to its benefit, whereas City was just very wide open and like less interesting to me. So I don't know. I like this seems like I guess more in the City camp, and then I didn't play the
Mhm.
third one obviously, but yeah, I don't know. I definitely want to see more, but yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's see here. So this is a game I feel like I could be wrong, but Forspoken, I was getting a little busy at this point, so I didn't get to see everything. I feel like was this revealed at a Summer Games Fest or something like this? Like I feel like we talked about this, and I feel like the first time I saw it, I liked it. Like I said, I didn't get a chance to see this. It
Hmm.
was out May 24th, so I can't remember. Was this like a?
Yeah,
I
this
feel like
was
it was like a
the
magic one. Like it was like it's like fantasy, right? I
yeah,
think.
the first time we saw it, it was called Project Athia, and you were like bringing roots up from the ground and doing some cool magic, and we
Okay.
really liked that. But it was a small teaser, and then they showed like a longer demo in at E3 or Summer Game Fest, something or other, for when they renamed it to Forspoken. And I think we were generally positive on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah, I don't know. I think there's something missing here. There's a certain part of it that we need to see a little extra. Maybe it's the sauce on top or something. We just need a little
Yeah.
bit more. But I don't know. It seems all right. Seems
Mhm.
cool.
I don't think I'll ever play this one up next, but I really like the trailer for Warhammer Space Marine 2. I feel like this is you talk about a dude bro game. Like I think some of it looked basic, but there was one moment where it was like you in the mech suit, and there was just like hundreds or like what probably
Yeah,
dozens of like these creatures, and they're just slashing. That looked really cool. And
yeah. They
again,
got
this
to
is
get a nemesis system in that game.
yeah,
Hey, that would be
yeah,
pretty cool.
all of them. But like, this is definitely a game that I will not. I never played the first one. Don't have that much knowledge of it. I wouldn't be buying it, but it looked cool enough. Of like, hey, on a rainy day, if I was bored and I for some reason didn't want to play in my backlog, I don't know. I really like trailers. At one more, where he's fighting that alien, he just rips that head off in the cinematic. The trailer or I feel like the cinematic stuff and the gameplay. There's like quite a jump from the graphics there between the two, but
Hmm.
I I liked what I saw in like an entertaining B movie type of way.
Yeah, there's like whenever there's these Warhammer trailers for like it seems like there's always 100 Warhammer games being released every year, and they always look like a lot of fun. But then I
Yeah.
see the price tag and I'm like, I don't know, like this kind of just feels like I want to maybe check it out on Game Pass or something. I will say I love like this. I guess your main character, or one of the main characters, takes off his helmet and he's just got like 4 bullets in his head.
Oh yeah.
It's just so over the top and cheesy. It's like, man, you got to take those bullets out. Like that is going to like that is an infection just waiting to happen. But yeah, I don't know. It does look like fun, but I see what you mean. It's not like something we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
Did I kill Travis by
Yeah,
coming
I think you
back?
did. Yeah. Sorry, Travis, you glitched out for a second there. We missed whatever you just said.
Kirklin, what do you think about Warhammer? Did you have any thoughts on Warhammer?
There was a couple Warhammer things showcased. Oh, actually, no, sorry. One of them was just a DLC for Vermintide 2. That's probably not what you're talking about. You're probably talking about Space Marine.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I think this is a Taylor game because I just thought it was Gears of War, honestly, from the gameplay.
I was gonna say Gears vibes, yeah.
I'm not like I love Warhammer, mostly the fantasy side of it. They have fantasy and 40K. This is 40K universe, which is like Space Marines, literally in the name. Not the biggest fan of Space Marines. Maybe if it showcased some more co-op aspects, it could be a little bit more appealing. Me and my dad used to play Gears of War together. He loves that franchise. Maybe him and Taylor need to do a stream one of these days.
Team up.
Yeah, and I thought it was a cool trailer, but it really hits that Gears of War vibes for me, and just not the biggest fan of it personally. But I want to hear Taylor's thoughts on it more than anything. What did you guys think of it? Sorry if you already went.
Oh, I need us to repeat.
Just quick.
I said like
just
look
quick.
cool, but I don't know if I would ever play it, like buy
Yeah.
and stuff. It's definitely like a Games Pass potentially.
Yeah,
Like try it
big
out,
Game
but-
Pass guy on this one.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I figured it didn't seem like, oh, everyone's got to play this.
Mhm.
It's cool that it's coming back for that fan base at least.
All right, let's take maybe our last ad break before we get into some of the final winners here and some final games. We'll be right back. And we're back. So after this, I showed Saints Row. I have nothing to add other than it looked good for people that enjoy that, right? So,
Mhm.
Kirk, anything on Saints Row?
No.
Okay. Best action adventure game, not best action game, action and adventure went to Metroid Dread, which was cool because I didn't think it was going to win Game of the Year. This is a game that I hope to get to one time because I just always see it and it looks fantastic. But yeah, any thoughts on that? Nice that they got some love.
I wasn't expecting a Metroid Dread win there, but I was really happy to see it because that game is great and I really loved it. I
Mhm.
will say I really did not like Doug Bowser ever since he took over Reggie's role. Just not a fan of him. Like he's just not very personable, and I really didn't like when he came up on stage and he spent like half or like pretty much most of the speech just being like it was pretty much an ad verbatim. Like it was
Yeah.
just here's what you do in Metroid Dread. It's like well, obviously we know what you do in a Metroid game. And it just won this award. Like, you don't need to try and sell us on this game. It just really rubbed me the wrong way. And then he's like, oh, and I have a few words from our team, too. It's like, dude, just get straight to that. Like, why are
exactly.
Why are you just, like, reading off this press release, like, for this, I don't know, this win? It just really rubbed me the wrong way. So
I really agree
not
with
a big
you
fan
there.
of Doug Bowser.
Yeah, I think they
Metroid
had the
has
wrong.
action, has adventure, and then it's action and adventure. That's a Metroid game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they had the wrong guy going up there to do it, and he's the guy in charge. So he's like, I'm fucking.
Yeah, it
going
wasn't
up
even
there,
someone
I
who
won.
worked on the
Yeah.
game. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know why they don't have someone from Mercury's team at the.
No, exactly.
show.
And I don't think I had
I don't know.
seen him before. I'm like expecting some big Bowser looking dude, and he's just this short little bald guy. It's like,
He's no
okay.
Reggie, but
Yeah, don't like this guy. Yeah, I'm glad Reggie made an appearance. That was awesome.
Oh,
Is
yeah,
he?
it-
What's
but it
his like
reminded
position these
you-
days? Is he just a free agent? Is he just like?
well, he was a board member for GameStop, right? And then I think he quit. So he's just chilling. He's just tired. He worked hard, He was CEO.
Like
of
recently, he
Nintendo
was
America. That was
like on the
last couple
GameStop
years.
thing.
I don't
Yeah.
know if he's still. I don't know if he
I think
quit the
he's-
GameStop thing.
I think he's
don't
left that position.
know. Did he?
now.
Okay, I didn't hear that.
be
But
wrong.
yeah, no,
He works 2 hours a week.
He's just
Yeah.
retired, just
He's
hanging out
done
with his grandkids.
yeah,
Chilling
he's
with
done
Jeff
with
at these
Nintendo.
award shows. Why
Yeah.
not? It's awesome to see him. It's fun. It's a fun presence. I'm not even like
Yeah.
a big fan of his, but I feel like I'm growing to like him, like in
It makes
his
you miss him, though,
post-career.
It's just such a positive force. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just look at him like, it's not what Doug Bowser is, but that's all right. Let's see here. After this was Dune Spice Wars Early Access 2022. Kirkland, I'm gonna let you start because you're talking about
Yeah,
in
man.
Discord about feeling scared and whatnot. So
Well-
this is based off the movie that you gave a 9.5. So I just want to get your thoughts on that.
You did
So
say
it's
it was
basically
10,
a fail,
sequel
right?
gets announced.
Thank
did have
you.
that disclaimer, and a sequel did
I
get
don't remember
announced.
that part. I don't think I
Multiple
was
times
there.
today,
I wasn't
Dylan
there
is
for that
defending my
part.
honor. I miss you, Dylan. We need you on more casts.
Yes.
Lately it's just been like
Talk
a
about more
gang
video
beat
games,
on
I'll
me.
be
Yeah, no, it's funny because I think on paper this is such a great thing. Like just the fact that it's Dune, like it's such a great movie of the year. And RTS just fits so well in that vibe. It said 4 times RTS, right? If I'm not mistaken. Can you specify what genre that is?
So 4X strategy is more turn-based. It's like Civilization is the quintessential 4X. So it's
But that
I
wouldn't
don't
be
think it's
RTS, right? Because it's
no,
turn-based
it's not. But
specifically.
it's like I guess it's adjacent. But 4X is typically turn-based, as I think is the main distinction there.
Okay.
But you're controlling lots of troops and areas across the map and spreading out and stuff like that.
Because like one of my favorite games, Total War series, that's like they call it a grand strategy because it's both. It's a turn based, but then when you do the battles, it's real time.
Right.
Maybe I gotta do my own research on these 4X thing, but I don't know. Maybe I was just a little bothered that we had no gameplay. Again, it's like way down the line. It's cool that it's happening. I think for like just like a teaser trailer, like audio wise, them just like talking about Arrakis, and then it ended with just like my Dune, basically the same line that Baron had, right? Just really, really like. It got my interest, but then I had to like catch myself. It's like, okay, early access Steam. I'm still fucking waiting for my Star Trooper game that me and Taylor were supposed to be streaming like a year ago. I swear to God, that's still.
Did you back that on Kickstarter and you're waiting to get your money?
Expand, Explore, Exterminate, and I can't remember the 4th X. That's my boy Denzel Muhammad in the chat. There you go, giving me some knowledge on
Denzel.
He's a strategy phenom, so this guy would know for sure. Yeah, it's really cool. I'm really excited to see gameplay.
Or are you just making up a backstory to this person in our chat?
I don't know that. No, we went to school together. Yeah, no, he's a good lad.
Just making it up. Oh yeah.
You may hear his voice in the future. That's a little hint of what may be coming there, Travis Snell.
Is he in my house or something? What do you want me to hear?
Yeah, he's with me and Jeff in the next room.
Yeah, Reggie's downstairs.
But no, I don't know. I want it to be really good, but I've been very disappointed from early access Steam games in the past. So that's just like me putting up my own barriers there. But what do you guys think of this?
I guess I'm gonna have to get on Steam, like eventually, because that's not my cup of tea, or I haven't jumped in that world. But I've been looking for a reason to get back into real time strategy, because I feel like I talk about fucking Battlefield for Middle Earth like the Dickens anytime I can. Like I honestly just want number 3 of that. I know it's not happening, but I just have so many memories of just you're talking about that Nightingale playing up for hours. Like that was me, like 3 a.m. with some Doritos and a Mountain Dew, just being like, hey, how am I gonna take down Sauron right now? Like if I go down, I can't. I only have the like. I love that stuff. So this was just like a calling to get me back. The fact that it said Steam, like, oh, this is tough, because I played Battlefield it was Battle 4. I played that one all on Xbox 360, and I had a good time. I thought played well enough, so I was hoping for that, but. Yeah, so I don't know if I'll get around to it because of that reason, but I think, yeah, Dune and the factions and just that world, that makes a lot of sense. It's a great time to hit right now. So I thought it was a really cool kind of hype surprise and everything. And I'm excited to at least see it happen, or maybe see a stream of it happen, or at least get my hands on it for some playthrough. So,
So quick Google, 4X is explore, expand, exploit, and exterminate. There you go. Get some good exploitation.
What he said.
Yeah.
Oh,
you're not even reading your boys Denzel's.
No, not at all. I blocked him. I don't want to hear him.
I'll block him. Put him in timeout now.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it didn't take much. Like just watching Dune, and I was in love with the world building, the lore, the different factions. After the movie, I was just all over the Wikipedia page, going all around. Couldn't stop me. So I'm super into this world. So if this is just Civilization, but with a Dune skin over it, I'm super down. And Kirklin's right, early access games, I mean, at this point I kind of just usually wait, or I always wait until the game's fully released. I'm not really down to make your game with you, which is kind of what early access is in a way. But I feel like this one, for the right price, I'd just be down to get it, even if I don't have high expectations, even if it has mixed reviews on Steam. I just love the world so much, and I think this would be a fun way to learn more about the backstory of certain things, or the different tribes, factions, would be through playing a game like this. And the world is perfect. There's just so much. There's already so much in just this one movie about like the different resources and the different like strongholds and whatnot. So this is just like the perfect genre for this world. So I'm pretty excited for this. Of course, the early access makes me a bit not worried. It just like might take longer before it's actually the game that we want, but I'm still pretty excited for this. And went on their website and they had some more screenshots, and it just seems fun. Just seems like a game I'm going to be super into. So this was to me the announcement of the show. This was my Wonder Woman. And yeah, I mean, I don't think it's the most hype thing ever. So maybe that's a show of like how much I enjoyed some of these other announcements. But I think this was pretty exciting for me.
Yeah, and I went to a website too. I like the art style they're doing. Like they showed
Yeah.
the bear in there and stuff. Like I like what they're going for.
I
So
Yeah, I guess the last thing I'll mention is I couldn't find the studio who made it, which is usually not the best sign that it's like, or it's just like, some new studio making something, which I'm always down for.
yeah,
But yeah, it's not, if it was like the Civilization devs or something, that'd be pretty crazy. But I think it's maybe a smaller team. But I don't know. They got the rights for Dune, so that maybe it is a bigger team, and I just couldn't find that in a quick Google search. But I'd be
From
curious to see.
Shiro Games, they did Northgard. Never played that one, but
Northgard.
I think Northgard's been on my my Steam wish list for years. Oh, they're doing
it's another
War
strategy
Tales as
game,
well,
so
which is
yeah.
another game I'm really interested in. Okay, so this is cool. I'm down with this. This developer's been on my. I haven't played their games, but
Yeah,
a couple of their games have been on my radar for a while.
it says yeah, Shiro Games and Funcom. Looks like they're
Cool.
showcasing Conan Exiles, which I've never played. Cool. Yeah. No, I'm excited to see more of it.
Good match, I
honestly.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think Dune's strategy just fits so well together.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, we had Among Us VR. Never played it, so I got nothing to add here. You guys got something to add?
I think that's a cool addition. That'd be really fun. VR is really expensive though, so I
Yeah.
won't be playing it.
I won't be playing that. I feel like it's become one of those like everyone's playing it, so I'm like I'm not touching that. I'm not touching that.
After that was Star Trek Resurgence. So this is where even so even Wario put in quotations Telltale, and that's where I feel like I was thrown off too. So it looks like it's just a team because they even start off they're like from the people that brought you Batman and all this stuff. I think it's like if you like those games, I liked the Batman. If you like Telltale and if you like Star Trek, I think this is a win for you. I always think they make some very fun, creative games. But I'm not on Star Trek, so I won't be playing it. And yeah, anything to add on Star Trek Resurgence? They look like they had Spock in there, so there you go. But
yeah, my dad would probably like this game because I feel like the gameplay would be. He just gets motion sick with like any game, or at least he says that, so he doesn't have to play games with me. But yeah, I think this would be a game for my dad, but not necessarily for me.
I'm not playing Spelunky, Dylan. Just put it down.
Yeah, he would not be able to handle that. He got pretty good at Overcooked when I played that with him, though. But
nice.
There you go. There you go.
Has he had a restaurant experience, Dylan? Because I feel like it translates well. Yeah, no, I don't have any interest in that.
And then after that, best ongoing game went to Final Fantasy 14 online, which I was surprised, but there you go. Let's see. Also wins best community support. And here comes the meme game. Already people saying we're going to be covering it. Rumbleverse. This looks like a combination of that Warner Brothers multiverse game and the Dodgeball Knockout City game. And so obviously this was probably like aimed towards someone like me, and it did not hit. Now, Kirklin did bring up a good example of like, well, Forgotten stuff. Yeah, especially because, in the future we might be introducing like a new multi-person title. There's a little scoop for you. But like, so I'm always looking for games that are more than 3 or more than 2, sorry. But this, again, this was an early access game. We'll have to see where it comes. I don't know. It gave me some memes for the show, and that was about it. But the whole trailer, and it went on too long, in my opinion, for this type of game. It was going on for quite.
It was
a while.
long. They're like, these two characters are gonna fight, and then they did that like 9 times. I swear, it was a lot. But I think. I don't know. I was kind of surprised with how much just the chat was railing on it, just because I don't know. Like it seemed easily digestible. Like Knockout City, it's a game that's easy enough to pick up, and it's just fun with friends. And I think this kind of hits that niche. So yeah, I want to see gameplay for sure. I think just brawling games like that in general can be fairly successful if they're tackled well. And in my mind, all I was picturing was Gauntlet. Like we're trying to get Knockout City on Gauntlet already, and this is just another one of those.
Warner Brothers multiverse for sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
Got to get us in that.
I'm sad I haven't got that email yet, and I doubt Fanboy Clay put my name on there. Come on now.
He put my name on there, and I didn't.
I know, he didn't even get to sign up.
I put my name on there. Check out this description from their website. Rumble. What is the
Rumbleverse.
Okay, this is
Geek First
maybe
Sideshow.
Yeah.
It's
different
now under our
game?
podcast now.
there's this game called Rumble Worlds that's like an NFT collection game, and I was like, oh, is that what we're looking at here?
God.
But yeah, this is like I think this is like an Epic Games published thing. So it just seems like an NFT kind of thing, just like there to farm money. Like, I don't know. This is just
Weird.
some smaller team making like a Fortnite on the weekend, and I don't know. This is just like this is like the most uninspired game I've ever seen. I feel like.
Yeah. After that, A Plague Tale Requiem looks cool. I like always the trailers I see for these, but these are just not any games I'm going to be getting into. But I think if you like that series, it looks like they're still doing what they're doing,
Was this a sequel or like a remaster
think
with
it's a
DLC or
sequel.
something like that? Okay. Yeah.
The
I was
first
sure.
of all, A Plague Tale Innocence. So
Oh, okay. There you go. It's one of those. Again, I just wish I had time to just dive into the story. I imagine it's very heart wrenching and very just very well done story. But sometimes they slip through the cracks. It looks beautiful though, like the world. I mean, not beautiful. It looks terrifying and sad, but it's well made. Yeah.
He's Satanist. It wasn't in the list here, so Warrior must have missed it, but I'm going to bring it up for a very specific reason. So they showed off Dying Light 2, which has a release date of February, so I'm sure you and Taylor are really excited for that, Kirklin. But what I got to bring up is trailer looked really cool. I like what they talked about. There's going to be choices, and clearly they're emphasizing that. Like there's this main character who's doing stuff for his daughter. It's almost like, are you going to screw over these two girls and whatnot? But my main thing is that they are using the cover song of Where Is My Mind. That's the one from Malignant, Kirkland. It was on my Spotify.
Oh,
rap
was
list.
it? Okay.
And
It went over my head.
Ever since we heard it in Malignant, it's been in so many trailers and TV shows. Like Malignant's not even a big movie, but like it's funny, since it's been there, it's been all over. And I really like that song. It's a cover of Where's My Mind. I can't remember who it's done by. I'll have to look up later. But I'm not gonna be playing this because I just have so many other games. But I think it was a fun cinematic trailer that emphasized the potential choices you have to make. So
Yeah, for sure. First of all, go watch *Malignant* because I think that's a special movie that not enough
it's a
people have
special
seen.
movie, all right. Yeah.
Dylan, did you catch that one? Probably not. Yeah.
Dylan would
I've
either
seen like
love
5
it.
movies this year. That's not one of them.
Dylan would love it, or he'd
Good.
message us and hate us for telling him to
Yeah.
watch it.
It's
a
there's no middle
very-
ground. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Last Night in Soho was pretty. It just hurt. Like that's a very stressful and like
Yes.
sad movie.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like it hurt.
No,
it was
it's
so
really
bad.
good. It's just
Yeah.
like my girlfriend was just bawling her eyes out when we finished. Like
It was
so sad.
I didn't. Yeah.
Movie.
Go check out a
Yeah.
review for that to
Yeah.
hear my opinion on it. But
Malignant's
Cliff Notes
much more
version,
fun-loving,
it
but
caught
it's
me
also
off.
like you took acid, Malignant. Right? You wouldn't believe
It's hard to
it.
describe.
I'm down.
It's a
I'll
ride.
check it out at some
All
point.
I'll say is it's
That's
James
higher on my
Wan-
list than Sonic. I'll tell you. That.
Since James Wan, like he made Conjuring, all that stuff. It's like there's two camps. Either people that think it's a bad movie, or people like myself and Kirkland who are right, and other people think that he made a bad movie on purpose. Like he purposely made like a movie that feels like The Room, and like you won't think that, but when you start watching, like this feels
Okay,
weird
stop
and-
talking about it because I feel like I need to go in like just
Yeah.
Yeah,
dry
fair enough.
now. But good.
Absolutely.
I'm sold. I'm sold.
Dying Light.
Dying Light, yeah.
Two.
I really, really like what I've been like hearing about this game. It sucks it's been delayed so many times, but then again, it's not like I would have the time to like power through it. So why would I
You're
be
not sitting
complaining
here
about
waiting
that?
every day.
No,
Where's Dying Light
exactly.
2?
I really, really, really like the first game. I think it's amazing, honestly. Just the aspect, it's a first person parkour. The parkour just feels super smooth. I would imagine it's even better in the second one. And they've really been showcasing like for years, like when this was like first announced, they've been showcasing the emphasis on decision making, right? And in this CG trailer, they showed that really well, how like the decisions will be tough. And it's a video game, it's not much consequence, but still, I like when there's serious consequences, because it seems like no matter what decision you make, it's not a win-win no matter what. Most of the time it'll be a lose borderline win maybe, and I'm excited to see gameplay of this. It's not going to be a day one for me. Even the first Dying Light, I bought it when it was on sale, and it was great value because I put in hundreds of hours in that game. Like even still, like when I'm just itching to play like a zombie game, that's usually the one I'll pop in. And Yeah, no, I hope it does well because it's a really really well done game in my eyes, and it's co-op. It makes it way easier. Actually, I wouldn't say easier. It's just way less stressful because like it's first person, right? So if you go to pick a lock, you're like in that animation, but it doesn't pause the world around you like Fallout or Skyrim or something. So like there's zombies just coming towards you. So if it's co-op, you can have someone defending you. And I believe it's actually like more than 2 players, so you can get like a full squad in there and just go tear up some
Nice.
zombies. And yeah, I'm excited to see more about this game. It's been one I've been just like kind of surprised it's taken so long to be released. Hopefully it's not a bad thing. Hopefully it comes out nice and polished,
Been
and
delayed a lot for sure.
I hope it does really well because it's a really good zombie game.
Nice. Travis, you are
Travis
muted,
has
my friend.
his muted mic.
Best sports game and innovation went to for Forza Horizon 5. I always
Verizon Forbidden
yeah, I
Host.
always do that. I thought that was really cool that they added like a sign language interpreter in the game after the fact. Like that's awesome. I like that's what this award is for, but that's cool. Um, after they had a demo or a sneak peek or whatever reveal for GTFO. All I remember about this is the guy on stage, and like I said, my joke was
Oh,
I
poor
felt
guy.
like Jeff Keeler or somebody had his family hostage and said, "You're gonna go on that stage and talk about the game, or we're gonna murder them tonight." And he just was like, "And it's fine. I don't. I shouldn't say. I'm not trying to be mean. I just there are. It just you." As the host, you should maybe gauge who's like really good at speaking, who's not, and then maybe keep that short. Because I think sometimes what happens is it feels like the people that are really charismatic or good at speaking, those are the people that are on very quickly, and the people that maybe aren't so used to it, they're like, tell us 5 minutes about GTFO, and it slogged. It made me not excited to see this. It was cool, lots of creepy stuff. I don't really like the name. I get what they're going for, but I think it's very cheesy in my opinion. But maybe that's what it's playing off of. But it did look creepy. It looked cool. It looked like kind of like Family Place. That like if you guys were streaming, I think I'd tune in. It's probably like a Games Pass game that maybe I'd try out, but it wasn't anything that I'll be remembering maybe in a week when you ask me. Like, I'll remember the stage thing more. But at the time, I liked what I saw.
Yeah, like I was really eating up the teleprompter on that one. He couldn't get his eyes off of it. I feel bad for him, poor guy.
Absolutely, yeah. At first, it's just like, oh no, this is tough because he's probably nervous, probably whatever. It sounds like the company's from Sweden or something. Maybe it's not his first language. It really threw me off. And but like the game wise, I'm assuming it's fully out now because like I had friends that were inviting me to play this. Like I swear years ago, it must have been early access.
Oh,
Like no, like actually, like this was.
I'm gonna look it up. No, I'm gonna look it
It
up.
probably was last year because that was when I was doing like midnight shifts when COVID like first hit and we had to like split our shifts off. So
your friends invited you October 9th in the 2019. That's when your friends invited you. I don't know when it started.
no, they did June. So
Initial
June
release
last year.
and the initial release date was 2019 December. That's when this one was originally released, I guess, probably in early
2019.
access.
Okay, yeah, and then yeah, so that makes sense. Jeez, it just feels so long ago now. But nonetheless, it like I found it interesting, but I feel like I already had my fair share of scary games that are co-op. So yeah, I don't know. Like Travis said, if it's a Game Pass, easy access there. If you want to jump on stream for it, but even if it's $40, I can't see myself wanting to spend money on that. Honestly, there's just so many games I have to catch up on. Not enough time. We still got to play through It Takes Two, the one that might be transitioning to.
We do.
Anything? No, not yet. Anything on GTFO, Dylan? No. Best game direction went to Deathloop, which I think this is something I pointed out. This is what they do. I think only one time, which was Breath of the Wild. Every Game Awards, the director and Game of the Year has always been different. So the second,
I feel like Last of Us last year wasn't that?
You might be right. Yeah, I think that broke the. Yeah, so when I forgot about Last of Us. So when this happened, I'm like, oh look, it's finally gonna happen because I thought Deathloop was for sure gonna win it. But to me, this makes sense from just everything I hear about the game as far as. It sounds like direction would be pretty important. It isn't all games, of course, but I mean, like certain ones, it's a heavier tool set. So,
yeah, I was really happy for Arcane. I've been following them so closely for years. They're just an amazing studio. And it was great to hear Dinga up there talking about how this is the first game that he's directed. He kind of got, I guess, promotion recently. And this is the first game that he kind of helmed. And then Dana, the other person on stage, She's been doing some streams, just going through the levels, talking about the level design. Kirklin, you would love these streams because it's just so cool hearing to go in depth, like spending, a half an hour on like just one little walkway and like the narrative behind like the creation of every last detail.
Yeah,
They're such a amazing studio, and I think that they took what they're great at and then like rejigged the whole formula and created this whole new formula, this whole new structure for their game, and then they created like this whole new world and characters and amazing visual style and soundtrack. Like I think this is definitely very deserving, and I was very happy for them. And man, whenever like Deathloop was getting shouted out and like that music kicks in, I was just getting so
dude,
hyped. I love
that was
that music.
and that was, I mean, I don't think we talked about it yet, but just like the orchestra that they had,
Yeah,
I didn't even really catch on to it, like that they were like going with the songs of the games that they were going through until I hit the Deathloop one, because obviously that's the game I've played, and it's just such an like a signature sound that like it really stands out, especially like that lady on the guitar just like hitting those riffs. It's like, oh man, this is so cool. And yeah, everything you said, like I love that game, so it's so awesome that it's getting the credit it deserves. Not game of the year, but still, I'll take the 2 wins that it got tonight. And
I think it'll win game of the year at various outlets. So we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. I'm really interested in what you were talking about, how just like the breakdown or whatever of like the game design, or what did you say, the level design specifically? Or
Dana specifically is a level designer, I guess. So
yeah, and I think like I'm excited to check that out, because I feel like it's almost like a scientific formula that you need to have like good level design, because it can't just be like, oh, this is just randomly put there. Like, no, there's got to be so many elements like put into actually putting maybe an event here that leads to this location, and that's something I know you've talked about in the past, but also like that's just something I love about Arcane games, is the verticality of the levels and just the little hidden secrets that I could be playing on my 4th playthrough, and it's like, what? I didn't know this was here. Okay, this is cool. And that's such a big aspect of Deathloop, is going through them multiple times, and that's something I was already doing on Dishonored, is just replaying the game and just finding new things. And the fact that it's a main staple of that game is just, it's so fabulous, and they did such a good job with it, and I'm so happy that they won that award. It's really, really cool.
Best esports game went to League of Legends. Best family game goes It Takes Two. Come on, she went to Mario Party.
It should have been Mario Party. Come on,
that's a game
those levels are hard. It Takes Two is hard. Mario Party is.
It Takes Two. You predicted Mario Party, and well, we all know what happened here. So.
Fighting game, Guilty Gear Strive, Simstrat, AOE4, and then best VR game went to Resident Evil 4 Virtual Reality, and the most anticipated game for the second year will win an Elden Ring, which is a good transition because we go into Elden Ring. I'll say what I need to before Kirkland cracks his joke, but again, this is a game that if I had time, I so badly want to buy it and I want to play it, but I just know if I do, it's probably gonna sit there and I'm gonna like either not get to fully finish it or I'm gonna have to miss a lot of other games. So I think we'll fully see once some other games start to get solidified, especially like Dylan said, like I'm on the other side where if Horizon is that close, I'm a Horizon guy. I want to see it on my PS5. I want to play Aloy. I like that world, so I want to really get into it. But Elden Ring, I think, will be a game that I 100% play in my lifetime, where I've seen things with Souls and what is the Sony version? The Blood. What is
Bloodborne,
it? Bloodborne. I've seen this all, and I was like, oh, okay, that's cool, but none of them have really spoken to me. None of them, like, I get why people like them, but I haven't felt the need to jump in. Even less than the gameplay, like I said, this world and everything they introduced, just how creative it is. This is the first time I've been like, I want to jump into this, but I just don't think I can, just for like pure bandwidth of my life. But it just looks so cool. It looks very awesome. But we'll see. Games get delayed all the time. This year I was supposed to be playing Harry Potter and Gotham Knights, and I played neither of them. So whether this gets delayed or like other games that make way for it, this is the same thing that happened with there's another one. But so yeah, this game continues to look cool, and I think it's just gonna be a beast when it gets out.
Yeah, I mean, Elden Ring had like an open beta thing, I guess.
It was fairly lengthy, wasn't it?
Yeah, like it wasn't like, you get to play the game for 2 hours or 4 hours. It was like just open for like 3 or 4 days. So some people got like 70 hours into it already in just like one small area. Like, I guess there's just that much content, and I didn't hear a single negative thing about the entire thing. I'm pretty excited for this one. I'm pretty iffy on the Soulsborne genre in general, but Dark Souls 3 is one of my favorite games of all time, and this is kind of, I think, following in that line rather than going down the Bloodborne or the Sekiro route. So I'm super excited for this. And like I said, I mean, I loved Horizon, but I'm like kind of more excited for Elden Ring of the two games, considering they're coming out so close. But yeah, I don't need any more trailers. I know this is going to be a great game, and deserving. Me and Kirkland both anticipated it was going to get that, or guessed that it was going to get the most anticipated award as well. So yeah, I'm pretty excited for this one.
Yeah, it looks amazing. George R. R. Martin's attached to it, so it's again amazing. But like, if I had beaten every Dark Souls game and I'm like, I need a new challenge, I would totally dive into Elden Ring. I've told myself I'm not buying any of these until I can at least get through Dark Souls 1. And yeah, like I love that this is coming out because I have many friends that are hardcore Dark Souls fans, and they've just been waiting for this. Like I have multiple friends like I'm taking like that whole week off work. Like they're just so excited for it. And I think it's gonna be great. But no, I have Dark Souls 1 to beat. I have a friend that actually just gave me Dark Souls 3 because they're like, you've never played it? Oh my god, I have 2 copies. Here you go. It's like, okay,
nice.
Good friend to have. One day I'll get there, but it's challenging. But yeah.
It took me like 70, 80 hours. It's not an easy trudge through that experience.
2 months off school? Yeah, why not? I'll jump in.
Yeah, 2 months off school, yeah. 100% in Elden Ring.
Yeah. Quickly, are we jumping to Game of the Year next? Because there's something I think we missed, and it's not even an award.
2 games I had noted that haven't been covered.
I got 2 on the list right now. One's tied to a movie, and one is about a certain arc. Other than that, what is there to shout out?
I was just gonna bring up Forspoken. We had seen it before.
Oh, you missed it.
You were taking out Marco.
You don't get to talk about it.
Oh, okay.
No, joking. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know what you guys said on it. It looks really, really cool. Like a nice original type game aspect. It's weird.
That only losers are into this type of game.
Well, it's weird because is that what you guys said?
Yeah.
I'm really, really loving the story stuff that they're showing, and like the designs of the characters and the monsters, and just like her using her powers looks really cool. I think the gameplay just doesn't look as clean as I would hope. Maybe I'm on the minority side of that. It just, I don't know, the gameplay, it looks, nothing I haven't really seen before other than like the cool aspect of her powers, but like just her jumping around and stuff. I don't know if it seems like a frame issue, like it's not running as smoothly as I would possibly like. I usually don't have an eye for that, but for whatever reason, I had some minor, like, I won't call them red flags, but just like yellow flags, like up at this point. I'm not going to commit saying it's a day one purchase for me right now, from what I got from this trailer. It looks really, really unique though, and like original. And the main girl looks really cool. It was good to see her on stage. She looked really just excited to be there and passionate, and you love to see that. Someone's just getting really pumped about that.
The 2 games that I wanted to shout out, one was called Steel Rising, and it was just a cinematic trailer. But this game looked really cool. Like you're kind of playing like a marionette sort of character, and you have like this fan attack. I don't know. It just looked really unique and interesting. So I mean, yes, just cinematic. So I'll keep my eye on it. And then this other one, probably not a great sign that we forgot about it. But Gollum.
Right.
Lord of the Rings Gollum game. I don't think
I watched that trailer for this.
I don't think this is going to be a good game, but I am so excited for it. I just can't wait to see what a full-length Gollum game is. I think it'll just be like, it just looks like you're stealthing around pulling tricks on orcs, and that just seems like the most fun thing. And Gollum looks so weird. But yeah, man, I'm really excited for this game. I don't think it'll be a Game of the Year contender next year, but I think this is going to be a day one for me. This is, Shadow of Mordor doesn't do it for me. This is what I'm looking for Lord of the Rings experience.
Yeah, it's. Oh, sorry.
You go ahead. You go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I'm really not loving the design of Gollum. I'm interested in finding out really like the story aspect of it. Like if they try
the untold story.
If they try and
lava on orcs.
Yeah, I don't know. Like my initial thought, I'm like, is this like Styx, like that Thief game? Dylan, you might be aware of that one.
I think I have that on Steam, and I've just never played it. But
yeah, so it reminded me of something like that. I love Lord of the Rings, but honestly, I think I'm gonna pass this. I'm gonna tune into Dylan's stream.
I do not
for sure one. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think what it's gonna be is like in Batman Arkham Asylum or City Night, whichever one you play, when you go up and you're just doing the stealth stuff and you're jumping between gargoyles and you're doing like, oh, I have a battering, I have this. I think that's what the whole games with Gollum. You're just sneaking around and you're doing like little tricks on orcs. And like this game is 100% dependent on level design because I think you get very boring very very fast, but it is interesting that this is one of those games. Like, how did this get made? Like, why is it made? But here we are, a Gollum game's coming.
I think something that could, I'm not going to say sell me on it, but just something I'm fascinated to find out more is the story stuff. Like, is it just Gollum playing tricks on orcs? Possibly. Or is it like actually like filling in some cool fill in the cracks of like thing that the main story doesn't talk about because we're just from Gollum's perspective, right? He's a really really interesting character in the Lord of the Rings series, and just there's so many mysteries that we haven't seen from his eyes. I would love for them to really tackle that stuff, not just him dumping lava on orcs. And I mean, it could be really fun. It's just
It could
maybe
be
the
next
look
Sneak
is
Peek.
really pushing me back.
I just thought it was so
Sneak Peek.
funny that like in this cinematic trailer, Gollum's like pulling a lever to drop lava on them. Like it's just the most video game cliche thing. It's like, why are you doing that in a cinematic trailer? You could do some cool Rube Goldberg machine interaction, but no, he pulls a video game cliche lever to like turn this lava. That like, why did it start coming down? Why does this lever flip the lava? It's such bullshit. But oh man, I'm so into it.
After that, we had a game I actually found really interesting was Arc Raiders. I liked the look of it. I loved like the retro feel. I want to see more because it's just like if it's just you always just like taking down, like I'm not sure what type of game exactly is, like how much story there is, or is it just you're being dropped in situations taking down these machines and sometimes looking like monsters. But it's a game that's like on the radar. It's not on the list. The games that are on the list are like I'm gonna really buy or think about buying. This is one like, okay, it piqued my interest. I liked the vibe of it. Great choice of song. What the frick was it? Oh, it was the Robin I Just Want to Dance song. Really good, but it was like a cool, like retro slowed down version of it. But yeah, so this trailer, it left an impression on me. It could be one of those like games that maybe it comes out and people are talking about and it builds up some hype, or it might be a game that comes out and you never hear about it ever again.
I think I'm in the same place as you are on this one.
Yeah.
Just kind of loosely interested.
Yeah. Kirklin, anything on Arc Raiders?
Initially, with like that first shot, there's like helmets on guns, and I thought they were stormtroopers. I 100%. I'm like, oh my god, this is the Ubisoft game that Taylor's been waiting for. And as it went on, I'm like, I don't know if this isn't a Star Wars game or not. And then, they have these giant mechs, and I'm like, I don't think this is Star Wars. That was initially why I was just pitching it to be a Taylor game. I don't think you'll really get this because it's not a first person. But yeah, and no interest really.
And then after that was the final, which I was surprised because I said in the Discord, I'm like, man, they've had some bangers, but I feel like they're gonna end with something really good here. Now I'm sure maybe Warner Brothers / Matrix paid a bill or helped Keeley out a little bit, so that's why I ended with, in my opinion, if not that wasn't the case, I feel like they should have switched and had Star Wars or Wonder Woman take one of those slots, one of those like really mainstream games, but that's fine. So they ended with the final look, and it was the Matrix Unreal Engine 5 experience first look. And me and Kirkland's downloaded already. I haven't downloaded because I know I'm not playing tonight, but I'm gonna download it tonight. I think there's something me and Kirkland will probably talk about on a newscast or something. Like,
Yeah.
I'm excited to try it. I don't know exactly what it is because at first when we heard about that, oh, it's just gonna be like a fun walkthrough and look through, but then they actually showed you like shooting guns and there's targets. So I don't know what it is, but I'm excited to see. One, I'm in a Matrix mood right now. I'm very excited for the next one, and two, it's just cool to be playing something with Unreal Engine 5, so that's a fun little, it looks great, looks very like lifelike at times. So Kirkland, what do you think about this? Obviously it leaked like last week and that came out earlier this week.
Yeah, this is a one I didn't need gameplay because I have it pre-downloaded. Like Travis, we've been going through the retro, getting excited for the next movie, so I'm just in the Matrix mood. And yeah, just it's like a future shot of what I'm going to be playing. So nothing wrong with that. It looks fun at least. I'm excited to see just how long it is. I can't imagine it's too lengthy. It's like 25-ish gigabyte download, which isn't small, but it's also Unreal Engine 5, so I imagine it's like just big files, just a lot of whatever it is. But no, I'm excited to just just see it. It's Matrix, man. We're 2021, and Matrix is relevant again. It's pretty crazy, and yeah, no, I'm very excited for this, and it was fun to see Keanu there. I think I'm just so in love with him that it doesn't even matter what the fuck he's doing. He could have been like Tom Cruise going crazy on there, and I still would have just loved it because it's Keanu Reeves, and it was cool to have Carrie Ann Moss on there as well.
Who looked like did not give a fuck though. She
No,
like
she did
Keanu
not.
just
No,
like games are all about exploitation and realism, and there's
It's
nothing
such-
more real than Unreal Engine 5.
such two sides of the spectrum, right?
Yeah.
Keanu's like going off, like he had some smelling
Game
salts before
Awards.
this, and Carrie
Yeah.
Ann Moss is like, "Hey, what are we talking about here? It's video game awards, okay."
Just let me know if Feige's bring back to the MCU. You know what I'm saying?
She was in the MCU.
She's in Jessica Jones. Yep, she's Jessica Jones' lawyer. She's
Oh,
in
okay.
all 3 seasons and Defenders. So
Good
it'd be
character.
good if you
in the-
watch them.
Fun
You know?
character. Yeah.
Yep.
What did I
Uh,
watch them? It's irrelevant, right? Not in the
Oh
MCU.
yeah. Oh yeah. Sure about the Dylan? You heard? Yeah, I linked
Charlie's
you.
coming back. Yeah.
And Charlie's come back. Anything on Matrix? I probably won't be checking those. So then finally, we get down to the big award, and I said, "This is why I'm glad I wasn't in predictions this year. Next year, I'll hopefully, like I said, play some more games, get back into it." But about 10 minutes before, I'm like, "Okay, here comes the easy win for Deathloop," and no, out of nowhere, It Takes Two takes the award. Dylan, what did you think about this?
Yeah, I holy shit, I was shocked. I thought Deathloop kind of had it. Like this has been definitely a weird year where there wasn't a clear front runner, but if there was one, it felt like Deathloop was that. Especially if you look at the other categories, like it was nominated in I think 8 or 9 of the like 20 possible categories. Like it was just all over the place. And like everyone seemed to love it, from like fans to critics, and there's definitely the haters, of course. So I thought this was definitely going to take it. And even I think when we and Kirklin did our predictions episode, I think we both kind of dismissed It Takes Two. We're like, it's a cool game, but that doesn't really have a chance of winning this. Like it'll maybe win a couple other awards. I thought it would win Family, but yeah, I did not think it had a chance really winning Game of the Year. So I consider me shocked. I was really, really surprised by that. I'm glad Deathloop got some other awards. I was obviously really rooting for it here as an Arcane fan as well. So I'm a bit bummed because I feel like, oh, this was Arcane's chance to scoop a Game of the Year award. So that's, maybe a bit disappointing, but me and Kirkland, not last weekend, but the weekend before, we finally jumped into It Takes Two. We played for I think 2 or 3 hours, and we were both loving it. And it was super, super fun, very unique game, just new gameplay mechanics every 20, 30 minutes, just crazy scope, fun story, good music. Like it's just a great game. So we haven't finished it yet, obviously, but based on what we played so far and how much it switches up what you're doing, like, 1 minute you're just doing like a basic platformer, and then you're doing like this, puzzle shooter mechanic, and then you're doing a fighting game where I was controlling a plane and Kirkland's up on the plane doing a traditional 2D fighter.
Yeah.
It's a wild game. There's mini games everywhere that are fun. It's a great game, and I'm really excited to hop back in it with Kirkland and hopefully finish it before the year is over, before we do our Game of the Year nomination stuff. But yeah, I'm really enjoying the game, so I'm pretty happy for it. It's a very weird genre to win Game of the Year, but I think that's great, and I think I'd really love to see the numbers, and how it's squared out, because I feel like it could have been like really close between all 6 of them, and then like It Takes Two just barely slipped away, because I really feel like this was a year that didn't have a front runner. I think that also made it more interesting as well, especially for us doing predictions. It was nice to have just a lot of variety of games. So.
Well, I just want to hit on 2 things because obviously I don't have much to add on the rest of the games. But one, I was with you that I thought, oh, well, this is finally Arcane's year, because I feel like they always get like the short end of the stick. Like, oh, this is their chance to really get out there. So that sucks in that aspect. Because for me, I didn't hear about It Takes Two until you guys played it. And obviously, I haven't been too much in the games this year. But usually around this time, you start to hear the front runners and people's predictions. And I barely saw anybody predict this to win. Like, same thing. I heard, oh, yeah, fun game. But I never saw anybody, oh, here's my hot take. And it's interesting because we'd have to go back, but I feel like on other like years, I've always said like it's gonna be interesting when like an indie title wins it, and it's kind of funny that like this is part of that EA Indies like lineup, right? Like whatever they call it, and it's just so funny that like it is, right?
I mean, I wouldn't. This is not an indie game at this point, but
is it not?
No.
Because I thought it was a part of the EA's like Indies initiative or whatever.
Well,
it
I mean,
was.
if you have EA as a publisher, you're not an indie at that point. But
That's fair enough. Yeah.
yeah, I feel like Hazelight. I don't know how many employees. Here, I'll look up how many employees they have. But they're definitely not an indie studio. But they definitely are more in that sphere than like a Last of Us or a God of War.
Yeah. So I definitely feel like it's more of that kind of smaller like tier to win it. So that's cool. But yeah, I think this is definitely the next year's going
They
to
have
be crazy.
65 employees, so a pretty big team. Pretty big.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, it's not a 200-300 level like Insomniac level thing, but it's pretty good.
Well, there you go. And when was the last time? It was probably with BioWare and Dragon Age. When was the last time EA could say they had the game of the year? It's probably been a good minute. So, I think it's just like you've talked about. I think there's probably a lot of games with a lot of very close votes, and which is a little bit of edge out. Next year is going to be crazy when you have so much stuff coming out. Even though I feel like it's gonna my early prediction will be it'll be Elden Ring, barring some really bad mistake or something. But that's gonna be my prediction. But Kirklin, what do you think of the big award?
Yeah, this one again was a little bit surprising, but I think once we finish the game, it'll be like, okay, this is game of the year because it just touches upon so many different genres of gaming, which is amazing to just have in a single game. And I think the story, like what we've seen so far, it's a serious topic, of like just a family going through a divorce and like not having it public to like the daughter right away, and then she just knows that it's just like a sketchy situation at home, but then it jumps to this like really cartoony type like game where like you're just playing as dolls, and like you're the couple that are going through from this point like so many things that it led to a divorce, and here you're like teaming up, you're like rooting for each other, and like their dialogue's really fun. And I think once you get to the end of the story, it's going to be possibly like tear jerking. Like it's just I think it's once we finish it, I personally think it's going to be like, wow, that's deserving of the game of the year. Like it's just such a really cool, unique concept and a complete game. And it's we played 3 hours, and I don't feel like we're close to the end like at all.
I don't think we are. I don't think
and again, it's just hitting on that like dedicated co-op, which is it's not disappear these days. It's just not as relevant as it once was because we didn't have online back in the day, so all you really had was couch co-op, and this is essentially that. Fortunately, we're able to play online, so we can play in different locations. But yeah, it's really cool to see because like Travis, I had heard of the game, but like, okay, yeah, let's jump into this and see what this is all about. And then once we got playing on it, it's like, oh, this is so not what I thought this game was at all. I thought it was heavy indie. I thought it was going to be like, oh, this is kind of not the most polished or anything like that. But no, I was pleasantly surprised with it. I was playing on my PC, so I couldn't even run it at ultimate graphics. We got into certain scenes and Dylan's like, oh, look at these god rays that we got here, and I'm like, oh yeah, I don't have any of that. Well, I just had low settings, right? So it wasn't enabled. It runs fine for me, but it was just it's a great game.
There you go.
It's on Game Pass now, Travis. So you and Emily would be a fun co-op.
Is it couch co-op?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I might have to try that out with her then one time.
Even if you play online, it's still like split screen.
So you can see the other person's. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. No, I'll have to put it there. You don't want to put any feelers out of divorce. Hopefully, it's not like trying to tell her.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing they get back together at the end. So, but I don't know.
Yeah, I would imagine
more diverse.
They're worse off. Yeah.
Yeah, they're worse. Yeah, it's like you. Like
I'm taking the daughter.
Yeah. Yeah, just a shoving match stuff. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we talked about all the awards, talked about some big reveals. That was a fun time. Dylan, it's always good having you back and joining here for some video game madness. And yeah, it was a good time. Anything you want to plug or shout out or?
Well, I should have said this at the beginning of this episode, and I should have said it at the beginning of our predictions, but I am doing the Game of the Year episode again with Dante like I did last year. Nice. We're going to be recording at the end of December, so a lot of time to I want to finish up a couple games, and then you can expect that, I don't know, late December or the start of January, going through my Game of the Year, me and Dante's lists, and then if Travis and Kirklin want to throw their game in there too, like last year, then they can do that too. But yeah, expect that later in the month.
Yeah, that's where you hear Dylan's Guardians review, so I can't wait to hear that. And then, we'll be back. What do we got going on next, Kirklin? We got Dexter.
We got
Yeah,
Dexter,
Dexter and
Hawkeye
some
every week.
retrospectives. Yeah, we got two Matrix retros, and we're about to watch Eyes Wide Shut as well for the first time. So I cannot wait for you to watch that. So.
Within a week of Spider-Man too. I feel like I still haven't even digested that. Really,
No,
that's insane.
I haven't. It's crazy. It's after today, 6 days away. I'm ready, but I'm not ready.
That's crazy.
We're going back to formula.
It's over for this cast because, ladies and gentlemen, we'll catch you next week, and we promise it'll not be boring.
Peace. See you later.